Maybe. We shall see. Let's let the people on the Discord know what's going on. There we go. Now they know. Now they know what's going on. And now you guys know what's going on. And we all know what's going on. We're here to play some spoopy yandere games. So, let's get started, shall we? Hey, what's going on, Hollow? How you doing, my dude? We're here today playing some Crimson Gray, Dusk and Dawn. Let's go ahead and push the play button so that it'll show up. And then we'll have the ability to do so. Emerald, do me a favor. What game does it say I'm playing right now? Because for some reason, this game was not on the list. What game does it say I'm playing, Emerald? Can you let me know? Can you be a friend? It took me a bit to set this thing up too. Says I'm playing Mega Man 11. Emerald, can you try to get that to say that I'm playing anything else? Can you get it? Can you try to get it to say that I'm playing a visual novel, or just get rid of the game altogether if you can? If you can't, I'll do it, but it just wouldn't let me do it from Streamlabs OBS. So guys, for those of you who don't know, last year, well, in a bit you're on mobile. All right, let me see if I can then, because I'd like to have it done like now. Let me see if I can do it. So those of you who don't know, we played this game last year. We played Crimson Gray last year during Spoops month, and it was probably one of the best games I played that year. It was probably one of the best games that I had played at that point. I really loved it. So it was good. We did it. I didn't know there was going to be a sequel. This came out literally, I think, Friday? Something like that. That's pretty cool. Let's go to my... I'm on AshleyBot's page. I don't need to be on AshleyBot's page. I'm going to be on my page. Get me out of here. It's going to take me a minute, guys, to set everything up, because for some reason Twitch don't like it when you say no game, and they don't have all the games that you can do. If you try to put in a game that's different than what you're actually playing, then they get onto you. So we're trying our best. All right, go on to... It's not letting me go onto my channel. What the fuck? Hold the phone. Can I just change it from here? Just push the X button. Update information. Did it update, guys? Am I still playing Mega Man 11? Does it still say Mega Man 11? Waiting to see what you guys say. Does it still say I'm playing Mega Man 11? I'm sure you guys are trying your best. I'm sure you guys are trying your best. It's hard to look at the video and see what game I'm playing. Nope. Yeah? Okay, I'm getting conflicting messages. Let's just refresh and see. Still says I'm playing Mac. Yeah, it is. Ah, damn. Let's unclick that and maybe... Oh, man, how are we supposed to do this? Visual... Dating. Visual novel? Can I just say I'm playing a visual novel? Is that, can that be a thing? Dating Sims visual novel. Let's go with that information. Does it still say I'm playing Mega Man 11? Does it still say I'm playing Mega Man 11? I think I fixed it. I'm getting conflicting things again. Getting conflicting things. Okay, you guys are saying it's saying I'm playing a visual novel now. I don't know what that means. Dating Sims, the visual novel. Can I just freaking Crimson Gray? That's what I'm playing. I'm playing Crimson Gray. Update information. It won't say it though. It won't let me pick it because it doesn't exist. About to just put on Barney's hide and frickin' seek again. Alright, you know what? We're just gonna have to leave it at that. We're gonna have to leave it at that. I'm done messing with it. We done. We done, boys. Alright. So, this is Crimson Gray, Dusk and Dawn. I believe it's a sequel. And in the last game, we were helping our yandere girl out with her yandere-ness, and we were helping our depressed boy out with his depressedness. So hopefully now everything's fine and nothing bad will happen. Let's start the game. After we go to options, of course. Make sure adult content is turned off. We don't want to get friggin' thrown under the bus. Everything else seems fine. Sorry for those of you who wanted me to do adult content. It's not happening. Author's note. This game is a direct sequel to the original Crimson Gray, and will make less sense if you didn't play the first one. Review the story so far. I'll go with the first one then, or play the first one. Review the story so far. I've already played the first one, but let's get a review. John was a high school student struggling with depression, slowly losing his will to continue and drifting further away from his fears, drifting, until he met Lizzie. Though Lizzie was violent and unstable, she claimed that she loved him, and over time, John began to believe that she truly did, and that she was simply struggling with problems of her own, which she was. Her personal struggles intertwined with another, supporting each other and slowly reaching towards something like healthy stability. There was no such thing as healthy stability in that game. It became clear that Lizzie's condition was no mere phase. She was unstable because her mother had participated in an experiment by a corporation called Koitek. John came to realize that Lizzie would never be a normal girl, even if he accepted her love, and worse, Koitek was becoming aware of Lizzie's existence, and not about to let her go easily. So she fucking murdered everyone. It didn't go well. When it came to the moment of truth, John accepted Lizzie as she was, even with her instability. They managed to escape Koitek and ran away together. Though they had escaped the reach of Koitek, can they actually build a life together when things are peaceful? Can Lizzie remain stable when there isn't a threat for her to fight? Can she be a truly supportive partner to John? That's what this story is about. See, that wasn't my ending though. I want to know if I go to I played the game before, if they'll give me a chance to get my ending, because that wasn't my ending. That wasn't how I completed the game. I completed the game by fucking completely murdering Koitek. I murdered the hell out of them. They were all murdered, guys. We did it. I played the first one. Guess not. Okay. The melancholy melody echoed within her, and Lizzie clung to it. There was a time when the melody hadn't been within her, though she had preferred not to think about that time. That was before she met him. The melody was sad, but it was his, and so she loved it. And it was certainly better than emptiness. Lizzie had expected that meeting her special person would change everything. And it had, but to her surprise, it hadn't happened all at once. Instead, they both grew and changed, their life together becoming ever more wonderful and her mind growing to encompass it. Yet she had a difficult time pinpointing exactly what she had first heard, or when she had first heard the melody. It would have been romantic if it had appeared at some momentous occasion, such as when she met him, or when they first made love, or on some future day when they were finally married, but instead it had slowly emerged, whispering at the edges of her mind. Smiling to herself, Lizzie began to contemplate the beginnings of the melancholy more thoroughly, but at that moment her world was disrupted by two people approaching her. Also, Holomara says, "Dear Ashley, that's me. What's your opinion on the Queen of Air and Darkness?" I don't know what that means. Let's keep going. Hey Blue, when it comes to the Fertile RP, will Macula actually die and how? I will destroy her. Let's keep going. It's my boy right here, and some fucking harlot. I mean, his friend, our friend. Her eyes flickered over the substanceless bodies, analyzing everything about them. She distantly knew the girl's name. Had only seen the boy on several occasions, both sophomores like John and her. Oh, it's not my boy. Okay. No physical threat. Lizzie had seen the two of them holding hands on the campus. Green, from the pupil dilation, judged them to be a couple. It's unlikely to be a threat to her relationship, but now that they were approaching her, she put on her usual smile and considered them more carefully. The boy was normal enough, but the girl, she was rather pretty. She dressed fairly well. It would take so little for her to try and show off what she had. Oh, Lizzie, calm down. Was that a teasing glint in her eye? Lizzie's smile widened a bit as she reclassified the girl as a minor threat. Hey, sorry to interrupt. It's Lizzie, right? That's right. Nice to meet you. She responded politely as they introduced themselves, only tracking the information for future reference. Once putting on a friendly mask had been difficult for her, an imitation of something she'd only observed. Now she could fake it more easily, mirroring real emotions she had when she was with him. She's a Fey Warlock patron? Oh, okay. I have a different patron, so... Irritated her to waste her smiles on random people who didn't matter, though, so as soon as possible, Lizzie encouraged them to get to the point. We're trying to start a social thing for other couples on campus. They may be about the same age, but we're hanging out with single college kids just isn't the same, you know? We don't have many people yet, so if you have any ideas, we're open to them. Either you or your husband's name is John, right? Why did she know his name? Lizzie's smile became brittle as she stared over at the girl again, searching for the slightest tick that might give her away. She had played it off like she wasn't sure about his name, but she knew. Lizzie was sure of it. Perhaps her paralysis of her threat was wrong. Or an analysis, not paralysis. She had dismissed them as a couple, but neglected to consider how impure most love was. This girl might ignore her partner and target John. Or they could be one of those sexually adventurous couples she read about, prowling for other couples. Lizzie had not given a single real thought to the subject until that moment, when the bloody hatred clawed itself out from her soul. Just as she was about to let those emotions leak out into her face, Lizzie heard the melody again over the beating of her heart, sad but calm. She wasn't sure what John would say to her, but the thought of him soothed the growing rage. It was also possible the girl hadn't wanted to seem too forward, like they had been tracking them. Checking their faces more carefully, Lizzie saw hints of nervousness and forced casualness. She set aside her main concern, flagging it as a potential problem for future consideration. Only a tiny fraction of a second had passed. Lizzie gave them both an apologetic smile. That's very kind of you, but it's hard for us to have much of a social life. We're trying to get our degrees quickly. Oh, that's a shame. The offer is still open, though. Let your husband know, okay? Okay. With that, Lizzie brushed past them as quickly as she could without seeming rude. Despite the potential threat and the new source of danger to consider, she also felt a little warm. People thought they were married. They were often together on campus, but Lizzie hadn't thought she'd restrain the majority of her affection when they were alone. The warmth drained away as Lizzie went about her business, though. They still weren't married. John was willing to tie the knot, but the thought made her heart leap into her chest. It had nothing to do with the idea of being with him. Lizzie berated herself at the very thought, and everything to do with how she was sure that the wedding would draw bad luck for them somehow. At first, she hadn't wanted to get married because she was afraid that the official record would draw Koitek down on them somehow, even though I murdered them all. But over 2 years had passed since the violent incident, and it was clear that they had escaped. Enrolling in college hadn't drawn any negative attention either, so it was safe for them to get married. And yet, something would go wrong. Even if they didn't invite anyone, she was sure that someone would ruin their day. And while no one could possibly ruin their relationship, she would only have one wedding day, and she wanted it to be perfect. Suddenly, the people around her were too many. Faceless, soulless creatures moving past her indifferently. The drone of their voices drowned out the melody. Stopping in place, Lizzie frowned, struggling to regain it. This melody had drifted out of her mind, and no amount of thinking about the joy she felt of him would bring it back. Checking the time, Lizzie decided it was enough time. She had enough before she needed to get to class. Normally, she preferred to arrive early, but that was no longer her priority. The gentle buzz of the class, which she usually found passable, if a pale second to belong with him, would now only disrupt her. It was difficult to hold herself back, but Lizzie managed to sprint across the campus no faster than the ordinary runner. This wasn't the first time, and someone from the track team had actually tried to recruit her. It was unacceptable. The track uniforms were flattering, but everyone would be wearing them, of course. He would come out to the events and be supportive, but that would mean his eyes would be assaulted by the entire female track team, and that could not be allowed. Guys, I'm not doing that. Guys, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not moving it. I can move it down. Let it go, Lizzie. Let it go, Lizzie. Lizzie gripped her forehead with both hands, forcing the thought away. She didn't need to do that anymore. The hollowness within her grew and grew as she left campus. Fortunately, their little apartment was nearby. A split home provided as housing for couples. It had taken serious work to attain one despite not being married, as the fools in the admissions thought it was a chance she and John might break up. Since it was 2:52, John was likely to be reading for a class. She had referenced a paper being due soon, but he never went down to the computer lab until she was in class. After all, he knew that she might need him. His consideration made a warm glow spread through Lizzie, but it wasn't enough. She needed to see him. She had her key in hand as she approached the door, but it was already unlocked, almost as if he had known. Lizzie threw it open and rushed inside. John sat on the couch, reading a textbook. He looked perfect, and when he glanced up at the noise and saw her there, gasping for breath, her eyes wild, he just gave a comforting smile. "Everything all right, Lizzie?" "Of course it is. I just forgot a book I needed for class." She swept up to him and wrapped her arms around his shoulders to give him a slow kiss. The sight of him had calmed her considerably, and Lizzie tried to keep the desperation out of the kiss. Yes, this warm intimacy with him was what she needed. There was no sense giving him anything to worry about. She had found him. Oh, you guys talking about Goblin Slayer? Have you guys read the manga? It's really good. She had found him, her perfect person. Lizzie drew back slightly and rested her forehead against his, her heart filled with warmth and his melody stronging in her mind again. "I love you, Lizzie." It made her heart flutter just as much as the first time he'd said it. "I love you too, John. More than anything." But as happy as she was to reply, she sensed something wasn't quite right. There was a bit of tension in his eyes. Was he carrying some weight? Depression? Had someone done something to him? No, Lizzie realized that wasn't it. He was looking at her with concern, having sensed some part of her neediness. It was wonderful that he was so attentive, but the idea that she could have caused him any pain broke her heart. Is there anything you want to talk about? Fucking just explain it. Explain everything. Well, there was this couple. She explained the encounter, hesitating a moment to give him her full thoughts and eventually sharing. As expected, he wasn't disturbed by her fears and didn't tell her that she was wrong. John had been through too much with her after all. You think it was nothing unusual? Judging from what you said, they just sound lonely to me. They probably just want to find people they have something in common with. Maybe. But even if that's true, I still don't want them anywhere near us. They're probably stupid, evil people, John. All we need is the two of us. He smiled ruefully. But there was no real affection in his expression, too. John pulled her into a quick embrace and squeezed her tight. If that's how you feel, we don't need to interact with the other people. I kind of want to just keep my head down and graduate anyway. I agree. She cuddled with him for a moment longer, nestling her head against his chest, then reluctantly pulled back, watching her hair as it clung to him. Though she longed to stay, she knew that it was better to go to class. Maximizing time in the short term would only hinder their long-term objectives, and she wanted just as much as him as she could possibly get. Lizzie headed to her bedroom and traded one spiral notebook for another, feeling a moment of guilt at the deception. But no, it was better this way. She could take the burden onto herself and leave his life lighter. She left with a kiss and a cheery wave, but then crept around the side of the apartment. She had left a little earlier than necessary to arrive to class on time for this very purpose. From the perfect angle, she could see him through the window going back to his book, studying so seriously to help them get a better life together. Lizzie didn't try to hide the broad smile on her face, just spent a while watching him. There was less need to watch him now that they were together, but she still enjoyed it. Once she had been observed and the other girl had made a despicable assumption that Lizzie was concerned that he would cheat on her, as if such a thing was possible, as if she needed any reason to except to just look at him. She didn't observe him sometimes to make sure he wasn't sad again. Jean's depression was mostly under control now that they had abandoned the awful Koitek medicine, but she knew it was part of him that needed to be watched. The thought of his inner sadness made Lizzie want to run back inside and kiss him again, forget class and just spend the day making love until he only looked happy and relaxed. Reluctantly, Lizzie pulled herself away and headed toward the lecture hall. John was mentally healthy. He wouldn't forget about her love just because she was away for a little while. She'd made sure of that. She arrived just a little late, but it was a relaxed university, so no one cared too much. Lizzie carefully sat out her books and focused on the lesson. There were worse things than classes. If the universe declared that she couldn't spend every single moment with him, she needed something to fill her time. With a few exceptions, like psychology classes weren't obnoxious at all. A few even provided knowledge that might have utility in the future. And all of it had some utility in getting them closer to their degrees. Once it had been difficult for Lizzie to think about such long-term plans, but now she could see them both earning degrees would help them create the life they wanted. But after that, things became more tangled in her mind. She wanted to be with him. She wanted whatever he wanted. But he was convinced that they should take jobs in the industry, play some small role in preventing pharmaceutical giants like Koitek from doing anything as terrible as they'd done at their old high school, or the experiment they'd done that led to Lizzie's existence. But the idea that John wanted to make sure that they would never be anyone else like her, that she would be the only one, it made her tingle all over. She didn't think he would approve of the thought, but she liked it so much that she kept it to herself. But the idea of getting involved with Koitek again, even indirectly, still left her wanting to murder them all like she actually fucking did in my ending. She wanted what he wanted, of course, a life together. They would have that no matter what they chose. It would be fine. For once, Lizzie set such thoughts aside and focused fully on class. After the lecture finished, Lizzie practically skipped out of the hall. It had been her last class of the day, and John had likely finished the work that he needed in the computer lab. That left them the rest of the day to themselves. So she wouldn't have to leave him again. Lizzie stopped by the store first, since they were low on food. It hurt her pride as a cook that they had to eat ramen, but money was tight. The least she could do was purchase cheap vegetables and enhance the experience. As she picked out the appropriate ones, Lizzie carefully kept track of all the spending versus the amount of money she had left. She had aged out of child support, not that the man who had impregnated her mother had even been reliable, which combined with the college expenses left her in a more difficult financial situation than ever before in her life. She was careful to add everything up in her head so that she still had money to drop by the pharmacy after getting their groceries. There was a small locally owned one that she felt comfortable getting John's depression medication, though it seemed like to be getting more expensive these days. Of course, she did still own Abby's home in their hometown, but Lizzie wanted to avoid anything to do with that in case Koitek was watching, and John would never want to live there anyway. Perhaps after they graduated, she could sell the house as a down payment for one of their own? The idea gave her a pleasant hum of emotions as she finished her errands and headed back home, still with a spring in her step. But when Lizzie arrived, she found the door locked. She quickly pulled out her key, adding another scratch mark on the lock before successfully opening it. The apartment was empty, briefly making her heart hammer in her chest. There was a note on the table, and she seized it, eyes flickering over the words. John had gone to the computer lab and said he hoped to be back here before she was, but that it might be longer, so she had an explanation. But even as Lizzie breathed a sigh of relief, part of her mind began to chum with other thoughts. What if this was some kind of excuse? No, John would never do such a thing, never! Lizzie crumpled the paper in her hands, then nervously tried to smooth it out again. John would never betray her. She knew that now, carried the fact tightly in her heart, but the world was filled with awful people, terrible women who might try to seduce him, and even if he pushed them away, the idea of one of them was laying a hand on him. And what if Koitek got a hold of him somehow? They'd already tried it once to use him to get to her. She thought they were safe now, but what if she was wrong? Once Lizzie had flown out the door and hunted him down so that until she could be sure that he was safe, now she found herself pacing, fingers tangling in her hair as she tried to quiet the thoughts screaming in her head. On a whim, Lizzie grabbed the spiral notebook she had and slapped it down on the table. She began furiously writing everything in her head, letting the thoughts out to give a little relief. She'd done this once before she had met him. Just like she collected pictures of him, now that she had the real thing, she neglected such habits, but they helped her once, perhaps they could again. Finally, she was done. Lizzie took a deep breath and looked over the page of furious scribbling. Some of the thoughts there embarrassed her. She needed to trust him utterly, but it was good to get them out of her head and onto paper. She felt calm again. The memory wafted from the deep recesses of her soul, the place where she kept him, comforting her even now. Though the page was a mess, she had returned it from the edge. Lizzie realized she was gripping a knife in her other hand. After a pause, she sat it down. How does this get here? Though her mind was clear, she still wasn't sure what to do. Obviously, John would never cheat on her. He had been very considerate to leave a note, and no doubt explain the situation. It was also unlikely that anything terrible had happened to him. She still missed him, though, and wanted to drown the rest of her fears in his presence. It was possible that he would be unhappy if his work had gone on too long, and might be happy to see her. Lizzie closed the notebook and put it with their others, considering what she would do. Make dinner. Make dinner. Lizzie, you said you needed to fill your life with other things whenever John was around. Make dinner. You can make some nice ramen, put some vegetables in it, and be good. It made her anxious not to take action, but Lizzie kept herself from leaving. Instead, she sat out making dinner, trying not to watch the door or listen too closely for his arrival. Lizzie set about cutting up vegetables, removing the bad portions and reducing the rest to an appetizing chunks. Her knife flickered satisfyingly, perfectly balanced in her hand, because she fucking knew how to use that knife, motherfucker. Anyway. They might need me to do some blah, blah. They might need to make do in so many they might need to make do in many ways. There we go. I did it, guys. But she had excellent kitchen knives to work with, even when money was tight. He had never suggested selling her knife collection. She would have, though, if she would have gladly sold every knife and every single thing she owned for his sake. Knife still flying, Lizzie frowned to herself. No, that wasn't right. She'd need her axe and a few knives to defend him properly. Plus, John wouldn't want her to give up everything like that. I still need my axe, guys, to defend him, okay? Considering such warm thoughts, Lizzie flipped her knife around in her hand a few unnecessary times as she finished cutting. Not the kind of thing she would do in public, but at home there was no one to see her but John, and he wouldn't be afraid of her. It might be too early to cook everything, or to cook anything. Lizzie set the chopped vegetables aside and converted the rest into a salad. She smiled to herself, but realized that she was out of preparations. Her eyes wandered toward the door. Fortunately, at that very moment, she heard his footsteps outside. Lizzie was torn between rushing to greet him and waiting by her work, which made her hesitate long enough for him to enter. Hey, yo, what up? I'm back. How you doing? I see the thinking knives on the table. You doing some thinking? That's good. Knives are better for thinking than stabbing, as we always say. Of course, she had kept knives and the axe. She needs the axe to take some questions. Oh, she had the knife collection, perfectly healthy thinking. She did that in the last game. I have a knife collection. That's good to know, Falcon. Sorry, I got held back. That's no problem at all. I've gotten things ready for dinner. Looks like you've been busy. I'm really hungry. So is eating early fine? Of course. Since she'd done the preparations already, Lizzie just set the water to boil and added a few other flourishes. John set the table and she beamed at him, happy to be working together. Everything's light and pure and wonderful now. Eventually, they both sat down together on opposite sides of her small table. It was nothing much, but it was theirs and it was wonderful. She would have been happy to just watch him eat, but she knew that he loved to talk to her even more. The idea that he wanted her to open herself to him, even of their darkest thoughts, always made her happy, but for today, she had nothing particularly dark on her mind. So you implied that you got held up at the lab? Mostly, it was nothing unusual. Just had to answer some questions, but Dan caught me at the end. Wanted to switch shifts at the library. He wanted me to do tonight, which I said it wouldn't work, so we had to do some weird rescheduling. Hasn't that been happening a lot lately? Yeah, I might be picking up even more shifts. Figure it can't hurt, right? No, but she didn't like him to be away from home more often. Lizzie had to admit the library job was a good one, allowing him to study or read most of the time, but she still didn't like it. At least she could visit him without being a hindrance. Why would he feel the need to work so much, though? Lizzie had her own campus job, and the numbers of their debt weren't too awful, thanks to the scholarships. Would it be better if they could get rid of it? Maybe she should consider going back to the house and selling it after all. Though she considered asking him all these questions, Lizzie decided to hold back. John had many concerns of his own, and adding her anxiety onto those would just make him depressed again. She was stronger, so it was better for her to shoulder the burden. After dinner, they moved to the couch to work. It was a ratty old thing they had gotten off the curb, but it was fairly soft, and it served to hold them. They sat on opposite sides, each with their textbooks, their feet touching in between. Just being able to be so near him, so comfortably. Lizzie slid her feet against his leg and gave him a bright smile when he looked up at her. An old part of her wanted to act immediately, to have Boingo before the moment could pass. But they had been together for 2 years, and moments like this were hardly a rare thing. Slowly, her mind had learned that she didn't need to be desperate. The life she wanted with him was filled with moments like this, too. Gotta do that Boingo, guys. Gotta go with the Boingo. Despite her thoughts circling around him, Lizzie finished her work rather quickly. Because of it, in a sense, there was a purpose to so many activities that had once been just going through the motions. Lizzie saw that he was still busy working and spent a little time admiring him. She loved the look of concentration as he became fully absorbed with something. It was even better when it was directly towards her. But his concentration was cute. Just his concentration was cute too. She could have watched forever, but once she got her fill, Lizzie stood up and kissed him on the cheek, then headed to the other side of their apartment. They didn't have a lot of space, but there was enough for her to retrieve her axe from the cupboard and experiment with it a little. Okay, she hadn't experienced any more physical instability since the incident, leaving her very capable of protecting him, but she needed to be cautious. Why you got the axe for, Lizzie? Though she didn't like to think about it, Lizzie had to admit there was a small chance she could hurt John by accident. Even if they never had a serious conflict with Koitek again, she needed her knives to feel secure. The idea that she might cause the slightest injury by accident. Lizzie practiced carefully, both following through with all the force that she could muster, bringing the axe to a halt at the moment's notice. The practice was soothing as Lizzie found herself smiling. There had been a time in her life after she found him when it had been possible she might harm him. In order to preserve their love, though, those thoughts now struck her as alien and horrible. She would never hurt him, but that meant she needed to always be prepared. When Lizzie finished, she discovered that John was watching her. She had no doubt that her expression was far from inviting, as she had been imagining cutting down threats to them, but he was watching her fondly. Lizzie beamed him and returned her axe to its place. "Are you done studying?" "For tonight, yeah. There's no point in doing more, since I can read at work read at work tomorrow." "Then," she drifted closer to him, smile broadening as she pored over his face. He wasn't too tired. He'd make a point in saying his work was done, and though he had been watching her with gentle affection, she knew there was more there. Lizzie eagerly slid down onto his lap, her body pressing up against his. Soon she could feel proof of his desire in his pants, as she cooed happily. I have proof of your desire in your pants, boy." But though he put his arms around her waist, his eyes still watched her carefully. "I know you need to get up early tomorrow, though. Do you want to?" "Yep." "Oh my god!" It won't fucking let me! Look at this! Look at this shit! The game is telling you to. Okay, so here's the plan, guys. I'm pretty sure I turned off adult content. Pretty sure I did. Let's hope I did. Grinning, Lizzie leaned in closer and kissed him. There had been so many small kisses throughout the day, each adding a little warmth inside of her, and now she returned it all, kissing him deeply and passionately. His hands tightened on her waist, holding her a little closer. Most of the hesitance and uncertainty were gone now. Since they were familiar with each other's bodies, she had never had trouble, needing him too much to be hesitant, but John moved more slowly, sent a thrill through her every time he touched her confidently. Fuck. Lizzie bent closer to him, and there was a loud knock on the door. Fucking... What? How dare? Oh, God! Oh, shit! Who the fuck is it? Who the actual fuck did this? Was it you, Limblom? I think it was Limblom, guys. Damn it, Limblom, what you gotta show up for? Her eyes narrowed and she glared murder toward the entrance. We don't have to answer. Another knock, louder. No, ignoring it was not an option. Lizzie sprang up from his lap and wrenched open the door. Hey, what's going on? It's me, the Limblom. I'm kidding. Oh boy, here I go, killing again. I just needed a cup of sugar. The boy on the other side was someone she recognized from one of John's classes. John said he was intelligent and Lizzie didn't find him annoying, so under normal circumstances he was fine. At the moment she felt only rage toward him, barely contained within her smile. He was physically fit but no threat. Her axe could be in her hand before he... Hey Aaron, what's up? It's Aaron! Aaron! It's my boy Aaron! Guys, hold on. Hold on, I need to go tell Aaron he cockblocked me. Where's he at? I need to tell him he cockblocked Yandere Girl me. My favorite person came to cockblock me. It's great. I want to see what he says. He's saying something. Hold on. I asked him if he wanted a VC. Yay! Aaron's gonna show up, guys! Aaron! Aaron, let me turn you up. You cockblocked me.
Did I get to smooch somebody?
No, you cockblocked me though. Yandere me was freaking hold on, I'm gonna turn Discord up. Can you talk?
Hello.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you over the music now. So I'm playing Crimson I'm playing Crimson Gray Dawn and Dusk, the sequel to that Crimson Gray game, and I'm being Lizzie, the cutest yandere girl ever, and all of a sudden there was a knock on the door, and the best part happened. My vision just went red because I was about to have sexy times.
Oh.
And then like a guy named Aaron came in. I'm like, it's Aaron.
Like I must tell him. Finally to pound that boy, but Aaron fucking showed up.
Everybody's saying Blue was about to smash and you ruined it.
Well, I'm only half sorry.
You're on the right, Aaron. That's what you look like.
I'd kiss me.
You'd kiss you?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I'd kiss you too. Not in this game, of course. I only have eyes for my boy John here, but you know, if it was a different game, I'd kiss you. You know what I mean?
Is it spooky?
It's a pretty spooky game. It's decently spooky. Like there's definitely spookier games out there, but it's definitely spooky. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Aaron. Here's the deal.
Peace.
You're gonna have to read Aaron's.
You guys want to check the news? Francesca Kelsey is gonna seriously just do it. Francesca Kelsey.
Yeah.
Francesca Kelsey. Francesca? No, it's Francesca.
She's just.
Francesca's gonna seriously just do it.
She's just gonna do it. Oh wait, no, it's telling us to seriously just do it.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna turn down the screen share a little bit because being weird. Oh right, because I didn't share it right. I shared it from the thing. Ah, I'm so stupid. I didn't share it right. I shared it from the other thing, and it was being weird. If I can you hear the sound? Can you hear the noise?
Mm-hmm.
The creepy music?
Yeah.
It's great, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It took Lizzie an anxious moment to identify the name, a public figure, not someone they knew, related to the pharmaceutical industry. Not an immediate threat, but an annoyance at this moment. The news seemed to matter to John, so he headed to turn on the salvage TV in the corner. Lizzie reluctantly acknowledged that Aaron was going to be an entity in their life for at least a little while and allowed him to step inside. But she knew where the axe was. It actually said back here, whenever she was like talking about who Aaron was, she was saying, where's it at? Where's it at? Yeah, he was physically fit but no threat. Her axe could be in her hand before he... Like, she was fucking ready, dude. She don't ever going to be alive and allowed her to step inside. After flipping to the right channel, John watched carefully as the news report ran. Aaron slouched against the nearby wall, leaving Lizzie to hover behind John. While she heard Koitek's name, she began to pay full attention, soaking up the information. The study they're talking about. What did we miss?
They didn't go into detail, but something about how sloppy pharmaceutical experiments used to be. All the time people got sick. Bad stuff.
Bad stuff, man. Bad stuff.
Bad juju.
Lizzie's heart began beating rapidly. Was it possible that the report mentioned her? No, not her specifically. There were privacy concerns, but it might have referenced her experiment. Lizzie's fingers began twitching at her sides. She drew John's attention. He frowned a little and then returned to Aaron because I guess that's how it works. I mean, you can't take your eyes off Aaron for a second, guys. I'm just saying, look at him. You all know you'd smooch him.
My glasses.
How many cases did they talk about? Anything involving specific individuals?
Just general information that I heard. Why?
Exactly the question Lizzie had been afraid of, but John didn't seem disturbed. I used to be part of a Paxatine trial that didn't go well. At least for me. I was wondering if I got mentioned.
Oh, is that how you got clued into all this?
Yeah, definitely wasn't my yandere girlfriend. Why would you even say that? That's a dumb thing to say. Behind them, Lizzie let her fingers slowly relax. John had been thinking of her. Hadn't exposed her to any unnecessary attention. Of course he would. She was awful for doubting him. While she was feeling a warm glow, she missed John's response.
Well, anyway, that only emphasizes the biggest cases. Just trying to prove that the harms are large enough that the government policy needs to change.
So that was how it connected. Francisca Kelsey was a researcher who used to work for the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Administration, but left as part of a protest. She had been campaigning for increased powers to regulate the pharmaceutical megacorporation since then. Lizzie usually didn't have many opinions about politics, but she approved in this case if it did damage to Koitek. Because fuck those guys, I thought I killed them all last game. She had never seen the woman herself, though. Lizzie watched curiously until the news station played a clip of Francisca speaking about the report, then began chewing on one knuckle. Though Francisca appeared serious and dressed professionally, she was too young for Lizzie's taste. Maybe it was fine for John to pay attention to her since she was doing important work that related to both of them, but his attention focusing on anyone else made Lizzie anxious. How dare you look at that TV woman!
Sounds like my dad's ex.
This is good to know, but why'd you run over here? The congressional debates are going to take forever.
Oh, that wasn't the urgent part. They said it earlier. Kelsey's going to be going to speaking tour to try and raise awareness of the issue. But on all locations they're set, we need to get her on campus, man.
I get it. I don't know how much help we can be, though.
Well, and I wanted to ask you if you join again. We need more people to lead this if we're going to gain any momentum.
Aaron, you're like an outspoken dude for like pharmaceutical rights and shit. Look at you.
Oh yeah, I'm an activist. I'm way better than real me.
God, just want to smooch him even more now. John hesitated, looking over toward her. His mouth had opened slightly as if to ask something, but he saw the tension in her eyes. Aaron looked back too, but Lizzie had pulled her finger from her mouth and couldn't see past her smile. It's gonna be hard for us to commit to that, I think, but keep us informed about what happens, all right?
All right, I won't press. We get Kelsey here though. Surely we're picking up campus.
While John made small talk and walked Aaron out, Lizzie stayed in front of the television and kept watching the broadcast. Koitek had tried to take John away from her. She had feared 1,000 things, and many times he calmed her fears, but back then, she had been absolutely right. An intellectual part of her knew that it was a huge corporation, manufacturing many common drugs. Not all of them were as ill-advised as Paxitine, but not every experiment was harmful, and not every employee could be as terrible as Miss Smith, whom I killed! It didn't matter. Lizzie hated all of them. But she couldn't hack apart the entire corporation like I did. I fucking totally did. I don't get it. Okay, there was a true ending in the last game, and in the true ending, you just walk in and you just murder everyone. But apparently that's not the canon ending. You just go in and you murder everyone with an axe. It's great. But she couldn't hack apart the entire corporation. But she had no choice but to hope that something could be done. That's why she didn't mind people like Aaron so much. They could be useful. Maybe even this Francesca? But that didn't mean Lizzie wanted her to come here, especially since she might bring attention from Koitek. Was that what she had been fearing? That was why they couldn't get married, not with an event like this looming in the future? Not while something could go wrong? All too soon, the broadcast moved to other subjects. Though the pharmaceutical giants were becoming increasingly important to everyday life, they were still usually ignored compared to the Banal? I did it. Celebrity news. Lizzie didn't care about that, since random foolish celebrities wouldn't attract John's eyes. She still moved to turn the television off, though. When she turned back, she discovered John watching her with concern. She had been aware that Aaron had left, of course, but that was at the periphery of her thoughts. Only now did she reflect on the amount of time that had passed. Are you worried about it? I'm just afraid something will happen. Koitek will be watching. John approached and wrapped his arms around her. Lizzie eagerly let herself rest against his chest. Maybe, but everyone will be watching. Francisca Kelsey is one of their main political opponents, so they have to know that anything around her will be scrutinized. Even if Aaron gets her to come, I'm sure it will pass without incident. That was logical. It was probably true, and though Lizzie cut and recut his sentence a dozen different ways, she didn't discern any real affection when he spoke of the other woman's name. But did he say her name with any affection, though? I have to figure that out.
Or if he just said it, that still bothers you.
I need to know. Was it with any sort of affection? Yeah, look at this. You can just turn on the adult content whenever you want. I'm gonna turn down the sound and music volume just a little bit. That way I can turn this part up a teeny bit. And everything should be good. Ah! She was just a political figure working for an important cause, no more. She wasn't a threat. I know, but the reminder has me feeling so stressed. I understand. Let's just go get some sleep, okay? Too late. Lizzie realized she had worked against herself. Though she felt anxious and twitchy now, if she had initiated again, she would have happily welcomed it. That would have let her take her mind off everything else for a time. But John, we could snoo. But now he would just worry that she was only doing it for his sake, and as much as she tried to convince him otherwise, it might trouble him, and that always made things less enjoyable. Accepting the way things had gone, Lizzie smiled warmly at him and pulled them both toward the bedroom. Please hold me until I fall asleep. As they lay together, Lizzie curled against his side. She began to feel calm again. Being as near him always generated a deep warmth within her, and just laying in his arms like this was a peaceful bliss. Maybe John had been right to not do anything that night. Her love for him was depthless, but she wasn't as perfect as he deserved. Sometimes her mind wouldn't cooperate or or her past got in the way. What she needed most now was to lie here with him, together. For her, it was just another glorious element of their life together. As John stroked her hair affectionately, she reminded herself that she was happy just to be like this as well. Smiling, Lizzie drifted to sleep and fucking murdered everything. They're all dead.
And then she woke up with the whole Venus.
The whole what?
The whole Venus.
The whole Venus?
Venus.
Oh. That's a lot.
Near your anus, but before your sinus.
Ah, I got you. The warehouse stretched forever in every direction, sterile white walls yawning toward eternity. And the center of it, they were impossibly tiny, yet they were everything. Aaron, so I dragged you into this, and had you talk for Aaron, and now I'm not sure when Aaron's gonna show up again. So if you need to leave, you can. But other than that, I'm gonna hug you and keep you right here, okay?
I'm just idly editing UBW in the background.
Hear that, guys? Aaron might fuck up and have you guys. I'm kidding. With that being said, the warehouse stretched forward and blah, 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 blah. In the center of it, they were impossibly tiny, and yet they were everything. Her memory of the scene played out again. Mrs. Smith having both of them trapped, trying to turn them against each other. In real life, she had fought back. John had helped her and trusted her even at her worst, and they had escaped. Oh, maybe that's what happened. Maybe I did kill all the people there, but like there was still more in the koi tag. Maybe that's the ending. But this time, instead of using an injection to cause him pain, Mrs. Smith began removing her clothes. She cast Lizzie a mocking smile and then slid into John's lap, pressing herself against his chest. He struggled, but he was bound too tightly to do anything as Lizzie tore out of the dream and found herself upright in bed. She snagged her knife from its place and held it in front of her, gleaming in the moonlight. It's fine, it's just the thinking knife, guys. It's just the knife that she uses to think. It took her a moment to come back to herself, to realize it had been a dream. John was lying beside her, coming awake as he realized how upset she was. There was no fear in his eyes, but she could see in the deep concern there. Lizzie, are you all right? I'm fine, John. Just a bad dream. She gave him a beaming smile and set the knife aside casually, but her acting wasn't good enough. There was still those lines of concern on his face. It was wonderful that he had come to know her better and better, but that meant she could keep herself from being a burden to him. But that meant she couldn't keep herself from being a burden. I can read. I got this. We're doing fine. Everything is perfectly fine. It can be hard to shake those off. Come here and rest, Lizzie. Though she wanted to pretend that everything was all right, she couldn't resist his soothing voice. Lizzie curled up next to him again, resting her head onto his chest. It did feel wonderful, pushing aside the remnants of the dream, but this wasn't how it was supposed to be. She was supposed to protect him. John was the one who was so sad, who needed to be protected from the world. He carried so much weight, and she couldn't add anything to it. Lizzie bit her lip and squeezed him tighter, wishing she could be perfect. I'm sorry, John. Don't say that. I'm glad I can be here for you. You always are. Come here and try to relax. She snuggled against him, her anxiety fading. At least, as much as I can. But what if one day he wasn't there? What if somebody took him from her? She would bathe the world in blood if it would do no... it would do no good because he would be gone and she would have nothing. Lizzie slowly managed to get her other thoughts and just enjoy his presence, but it took her a very long time to go to sleep.
She's crazy.
So in the last game, Aaron, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I didn't grab you last time. In the last game, we learned that she was experimented on as a bebu. Her mother had went for like clinical trials while she was preggers, and it made her into a yandere, like an unreversible. Like it's actually a medical condition for her.
Genetically built yandere.
Yeah. And she tries so hard to just be like, no, everything's fine. Don't worry, John. I'm going to be good for you. And she tries, man. She tries her best. But she cannot stop thinking about like bad stuff. And John did his best to like get her to calm down and stuff. And they eventually just accepted what she was and like accepted the fact that they did a little good. You know what I mean? She's not completely batshit insane anymore. She's still pretty insane though.
You're pretty crazy.
The lecture rolled onward, flowing around the edges of Lizzie's mind. She was absorbing some of the information, but her thoughts were mostly elsewhere. On the page in front of her, increasingly, she had taken a back corner seat that it would look like it was dutifully taking notes, but in fact she was pouring out her thoughts onto the pages of her spiral notebook. Lizzie paused a moment, looking over what she had written recently. It was chaotic, but a familiar chaos. She'd written his name many times, frequently surrounded by hearts. In several places, she'd drawn little pictures of herself killing Miss Smythe. It was playful, though, and writing out her emotions made her feel a little more stable. I want to see these so bad. I want to see the little drawings of her killing this girl. They were playful. It was fine. Thinking of him always made her smile, but Lizzie had also stopped to consider John as analytically as she could. Her mind ran over the roll of images she held of his face and all the smallest changes in his eyes. He was doing better than usual, she realized. Though his smile was sometimes melancholy, it felt appropriate for him, and she didn't see any other signs of depression. There was no shadows in his eyes, and he had been very affectionate last night. Yeah, and John has really bad clinical depression, and he was taking Koitek drugs like she was last game, but basically they were making him worse. They were literally making him crazy. So he kind of got fixed by the end of the last game because she got him off the Koitek drugs and onto regular drugs because she didn't trust Koitek at all. And now he's doing fine. So she actually did help him out, which is really cool. I think that was really cool. Her weird yandere attentiveness actually saved him from going crazy. This game is weird, Aaron.
Sometimes you just need to put it in crazy.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes if you put it in crazy, the crazy calms down a bit. He was doing better than usual, blah, 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 blah. All this different stuff, and very affectionate last night. I love it when her eyes go all bright. She's like, I'm so happy. The thought made Lizzie squirm a little in her seat. She let herself dwell on the shared moment for a long time. Pulling herself out of her thoughts, Lizzie set aside the notebook and returned to her real notes. She didn't need to take many, quickly jotting down the key points to catch up to the speaker. Once she was done, her mind began to wander again. It seemed that the event planning had gone through. Their local campus activist groups had petitioned to the right places, and now Francesca Kelly was going to be speaking in town. Hooray. You see you broke Ashley? Aw, damn, did Ashley break? Ashley might have broke. Hold on, let me restart Ashley bot.
Broke?
He tried to put the blazing crow emote and the frozen snow emote at the same time. I don't think it broke her, but I'll restart her just in case.
I mean, my general response would be break, implying that she's completely doing fine.
No one can break Ashley. She's already pretty far. She might not be Lizzie far, but she's pretty far crazy.
But mending ain't gonna do a whole lot.
Unless you're a powerful wizard, you can't help. And even if you are, you probably can't help. But Ashley should be back now. It seemed that the evening planning had gone through. Their local campus activist groups had petitioned the right places and all that. I already read that part. That was a good thing, theoretically. It would disturb Koitek and it would make John happy. Lizzie had read some of their article. Oh, what the hell? I restarted Ashley and now freaking it's starting up. Ugh, get out of here.
Just devolving into her.
Lizzie had read some of her articles to try to vet her? To vet her?
Yeah.
It's weird. Francisca seemed...
Someone you're investigating.
Oh, and okay, cool. Francisca seemed intelligent. Her visit would probably give them nice things to talk about. She was married, too, and she had been for 6 years. Everything was fine, so Lizzie didn't object to them getting a little involved in helping set up the event. Everything was fine. She's married. She can't take John away from me. Lizzie absentmindedly realized that she was gripping her pen tightly and stabbing it repeatedly into the side of her notebook, leaving it covered in gouges. Oh, God. After class, Lizzie headed out and started to walk her usual path before she remembered that things had changed. Frowning slightly, she changed her route to head over to the administration building instead, where she would be meeting with John and others would be there as well. The exact purpose of the event was unclear to her. At minimum, they would have to gather and receive information about the various activities they would be doing in preparation for the visit and speech. Presumably, after that, they would just go and do said activities, and she could be alone with him. except that he had expressed interest, which was reasonable. Perhaps they would participate. He had noticed her anxiousness, however, and not committed anything beforehand. That was very considerate of him, but made Lizzie vow to do a better job at supporting him. As she entered the building, she saw that a crowd of people had gathered. It appeared to be an ordinary enough college group, likely not a concern, though it was more difficult to evaluate threats in crowds such as this. She searched through the random people in the way, but was unable to find John. Realizing that she was going to be engaged, Lizzie refocused on Aaron, who was coming to greet her. Aaron, you're here. Oh no! There's two of the girls! Okay, so Aaron, in the beginning, these girls were standing up just like regular, like the guy here is. But like, then she evaluated them as threats and they started going like this.
Oh.
Aaron and two women, young, attractive women, their age, wearing clothes that were stylish and extremely suggestive. Not physical threats, but potentially. Lizzie gave all of them a brittle smile. Aaron, you covered them, bitches. Look at you.
Hey, Lizzie, good to see you here. We're doing activist thing.
These are my two activist wives. This is why I'm an activist. Hello.
Just getting organized, but there's a ton of things we need to do. We already put a bunch of flyers to put up, but we actually got Spice from one of the big boards. So we need some people to help design a poster. And not Spice, Space. Sorry, I'm high. And we also.
Where's John?
Over in the corner. We're gonna organize after the.
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies.
Ladies. Let's go back to the ladies. Lizzie left them, though she watched Aaron and the others for a moment longer. Aaron seemed to have noticed that she wasn't completely happy, which was a problem. Being herself around John had made her sloppy, though Aaron also might be more perceptive than average. I mean, he did say that he was smart, but okay, whatever. She headed through the crowd searching for John. Part of her knew that the people here were probably decent, given their interest. No. Too many of them were just looking for socialization or a cause that made them feel good about themselves. There were many of them to judge, and she could possibly be, and some could possibly be threats. Investigate everyone in the room, ignore others and find John. Defend. Whoa! What?
Ignore targets.
Okay, so they all say, okay, the first one says investigate everyone in the room. If you hover over it, it says eliminate everyone in the room. The next one says ignore others and find John, and then it goes ignore targets and find John. Defend John or defend John with knives. Ask Aaron for more information. Interrogate Aaron for more information. Retreat and monitor the situation. Retreat, gather weapons, and monitor the situation. What the fuck is this? I mean, the least violent one, I think, is probably ignore targets and find John, or also interrogate Aaron for more information.
You could like run across the room, frog splash his ass into a window. Tell me things. Hussies out of the room.
Ignore target seems like the best one. I don't want to eliminate anyone. Let's just go to ignore targets. Though many options presented themselves to her, Lizzie decided to take the simplest, best to be prepared and not do anything that might disturb John. That left her feeling more confident in herself, but Lizzie still searched for his voice in the crowd and focused on him. Ah! Oh my god, whenever the white effect goes over the screen, and she's just like, I'm happy now! God dang it. There he was. Lizzie restrained herself and simply skipped up to him. Taking his arm like any normal girlfriend would do, her fingers dug into his arm harder than she intended, as he gave her a look with a hint of concern. Hello, Lizzie. Sorry I'm late. She beamed at John to reassure him that everything was all right, then also beamed at nearby people, not likely any threats, but she beamed hard at them anyway. I actually just got finished organizing all the different tasks. Aaron's better at drawing people together than organizing the details, you know? Haha, that's so cruel. Some girl laughed unnecessarily loud at its observation, prompting Lizzie full attention to zero in her. Slight pupil dilation, no visible flushing, heart rate slightly above average. Was that flirting? Was she trying to steal him away from her? But we haven't assigned any tasks yet. What do you think, Lizzie? Do you want to help, or do we have too much to do at home? It was an obvious lifeline to her if she was so too stressed. And Lizzie loved him for it. Of course she could trust her John, but he would always be true to her. Aw, you might have to go. We need all the help we can get. I'm getting someone talking to me. What's up? I will. My grandma does not want to hear scary yandere games, guys. Scary yandere games might be too much for her.
Scary.
The girl's gaze turned away from John, too deliberately, a ruse, and toward Lizzie. She gave a smile that touched the corners of her eyes, indicating she was authentic, but though Lizzie automatically mirrored it, she only felt a cold hollowness. I was actually hoping you could help us put up flyers. I haven't seen you around campus. You're super fast. Or I've seen you around campus. Okay, cool. What gain did she have in mind with such flattery? Lizzie failed to see the advantage the girl gained, but she disliked the situation all the same. Still, there was a wide variety of different tasks available, and not all of them would leave John vulnerable. She had delayed too long in answering, leaving an uncomfortable pause. It had been a very long time since her social skills had failed her like that. Worse, it was causing him stress, which was unacceptable. Lizzie pretended to be looking over the organizational sheet to buy herself some time. It's up to you, Lizzie, but I noticed we need a couple people to move cabinets and desks out of the supply room that we're going to use. Think we could do that? Lizzie smiled as she realized he was offering her a chance. Though John was always considerate, when he was feeling less depressed, he was especially attentive to her concerns. The idea of participating wasn't unpleasant, but it would be so much calmer and more wonderful alone at home. Lizzie looked up and smiled and made her decision, which was, don't participate. Let him participate, but keep him safe. Take care of it for him. Participate together. Take John's idea. There's so many freaking, decisions in this game. And not all of them are kill people, which is odd.
But I'm sure many lead to killing people.
They might. Let's get Aaron to do it. That's not a decision, guys. Don't participate. Let him participate, but keep him safe. Take care of it for him. Participate together. Take John's idea. Let's take John's idea. That seems like a good idea. Oh, but that might be way too clingy though. I've been going for John every single time. Should I take care of it for him? What do you think, Aaron?
I mean, that would mean you'd be telling him, hey, don't do stuff, let me do it.
That's true. Participate together? What do you think?
Definitely wouldn't be a bad option. I can't see it being bad.
Let's do it.
It might drive you crazy.
I'm already crazy. Putting up flyers sounds fun. Let's go together. Good. We have a plan for getting them through campus, but also all over town. John began going over the plan, which was simple enough. She could probably have done all the flyers herself, but if she got to walk around with him, then it would be worth it. The problem was so many other people were involved. People John delegated to other locations, suspicious girls with questions. At one point, they even needed to drive in someone else's car. It was too many people, too close for her. She had hoped it would be just the two of them. But as they worked, John was often smiling. The whole social environment, working together with people toward the same cause, seemed to make him happy. That was good. And she had saved his brightest smiles for her, never getting too close to any of the other girls. It was fine. The event left Lizzie a little nervous, but she judged that acceptable. If she could drain stress from him into herself, that was the way it should be. When they got home, John seemed lighter than usual. She found herself smiling in response to his happiness and snuggled against him as they fell asleep over the long day, his hand stroking her hair. We did it. It was fine. Everything went fine.
It all worked out. And then we boned. Yeah.
Hell yeah. When her schedule went unusually well, Lizzie found herself actually somewhat troubled. She had no reading for classes, the shopping had gone quickly, and nothing had slowed her down. That meant that she had a surprising amount of extra time. On the oh, dang it. This music, man. That meant that she had a surprising amount of extra time. On the one night, John needed to work late at the library. For a little while, she busied herself tidying up at the house and cleaning her knives, but she found herself anxious. It was no serious premonition, just an uncomfortable feeling. She was glad to have him in her mind, and she was sure that she would soon find his song again, but she also wanted him in the flesh. I thought she said in her flesh, but it's like, no, in the flesh, okay. She spent a little while writing in her notebook, many of the pages now heavy with ink, mostly plans for the worst case scenarios, if something happened during Francisca's visit and she needed to protect John. But that couldn't hold her attention for long. This was a bad night to be home alone. After chewing on one knuckle for a while, Lizzie decided that she should go and visit John at the library. She padded across the campus, noting how different it was at night. The normal dorms were still bright and would become progressively louder as the students started to party. A few were ambling further, likely drunk or stoned. Hey, Isno, what's going on, man? They had been invited a time or two, but for the most part, she and John didn't have connections to those crowds. Being together and off campus, even just slightly off campus, set them apart from the other students. Normally, Lizzie never gave the subject a second thought. Now, she found herself resenting their happiness. All of them wasting their time carelessly while he was working, alone and probably depressed. If she urged him to take fewer shifts, he would. Lizzie knew that, but as much as she wanted more of him, she didn't want to unfairly force him to do that. If John thought the extra work was necessary, then he was probably right. Still, Lizzie's eyes briefly flickered to a couple sprawled over one another in the grass. Neither a threat. They were pulling at their clothes, though, and, well, past the point of just making out. What the fuck, man? This music.
She's just watching people burn.
Yeah, it is. It's just looking over like, oh man, look at those guys. I mean, you've done that, Aaron, right? You've come across people boning in a park, and you've watched them, right?
No.
Everybody does. Don't lie. I'm kidding. Before they finished college, she wanted a moment like that, not doing something like that in public, but simply being together by the trees, enjoying themselves. College should be a time of happy memories, light years between the drama of their meeting and difficulties of adulthood. She wanted something she could remember forever, maybe capture in a picture. Yet right now, everything was just so complicated. You can't hear the music? Oh, is the music too low for people? Hold up. Let me turn that up. Aaron, can you talk for a second?
Beep boop boop beep boop. That's me. I'm Aaron. I say words.
All right, I'm gonna turn things up because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't drowning you out.
Oh, I see.
All right, can you guys hear Aaron and the music? Let me know if the music's too loud or if the music's too soft too. Falcon puts a knife in the chat. I'm guessing that's a yes. You can't hear Aaron nor the music. What? Aaron, speak a little bit more.
Hello, I'm Aaron. I'm the thing you don't hear. Sometimes I think about kissing girls, and I don't like to admit that to people, because that's gay.
Can you guys hear him now? What about there? Did that work? It's good? Falcon says it's good. Not sure about other people. Falcon says it's good. I hear both now. Aaron is a bit robot-y. Yeah, Aaron's been kind of a bit of a robot the past couple of days, haven't you, Aaron?
I'm gonna commit Sudoku.
Huh?
I'm gonna commit Sudoku.
Don't do that. Don't commit Sudoku. Have you figured it out? Is it just your mic or what's up?
This is a brand new mic, and it's been doing that. Like I switched mics in the last 2 days.
Oh wow. I don't. Maybe have you tried re-downloading Discord?
Maybe, but I could try the online version. But it's other people have been roboty for me too.
It's probably just a Discord thing.
I don't know, but if it's happening exclusive for me everywhere, then I feel like that would be an issue.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it, Aaron. We good.
My mic is so expensive; it needs to sound beautiful.
I mean, it probably sounds beautiful, like when you're recording and stuff, and that's really all that matters, right?
I only ever record with their other more expensive mic.
I've watched your stream. I've watched your streams. You don't sound roboty in those.
No, it's stupid.
You're hug. Hug, Aaron. Lizzie frowned and looked away, increasing her pace. It wasn't fair. The library itself was basically deserted, since a few were going to research on a Friday night. That was why John ended up with such a long shift and why he took it, getting paid to do his own work. Lizzie found herself shifting to walk silently instead of giving any sign of her presence. This could be a good opportunity to observe him without him being aware. If it had been the first way that she had come to love him, and though the other ways since coming to know him were better, watching him still had a special place in her heart. She peered around a bookshelf and finally spotted him. John sat behind the desk reading from one of his books. He was making decent progress, brow furrowed in that concentrated look that she so loved. But occasionally, his focus seemed to waver. She noticed his eyes grow a little distant, and he had a backtrack on the page. Sometimes when he did, he would look at a sheet of paper beside him for a while, occasionally making a note. Were they just his notes? But she knew John's note-taking habits extremely well, and that wasn't how he usually operated. It was as if he was trying to read, but simultaneously distracted by thoughts of something else. What could it possibly be? Her mind imagined it was some kind of love letter, but she discarded that possibility as quickly as she could. No, John wouldn't do that. If he wrote a love letter, it would be to her. He looked so sad, though. Lizzie stared as if her gaze could strip away his skull and reveal every thought inside. If she just understood him perfectly, she could prevent him from being sad. There would be no anxiety then, only perfect trust for one another. Lizzie retreated further into the library, just in case he looked up in her direction, and watched him from a vantage point even he wouldn't notice. He did glance up a few times, almost as if he felt her watching, but she was so well hidden. It was wonderful that he could almost sense her, but Lizzie needed to watch him for now. Eventually, she would understand. Hours passed in a flash, and suddenly John was standing and yawning. After so long of his stillness, it was almost startling. Apparently his shift was almost over, which means he needs to lock up. Deciding that she had watched enough, Lizzie sneaked through the back stacks and approached him from the rear entrance again. Beaming, John smiled the instant he saw her. Oh, Lizzie, I hope you weren't lonely. I just wanted to come greet you once your shift was over. You're a sight for sore eyes. After this dead shift, just give me a moment to lock up. It didn't take him long, and they were walking across campus to head back home. It's bright now. Holy fuck! What? Was he there all night? That's one freaking dedicated shift at a freaking college library. Holy crap! It didn't take him long, and then they were walking across campus to head back home. Her arm through his and her head leaning against his shoulder. They passed the couple, now lying on top of one another. John seemed a little surprised, but just shook his head. Lizzie inclined her head toward them, then looked back to him and raised her eyebrows. Sorry, I can barely keep my eyes open. It's okay. I know you studied hard. Let me help you rest. When they got home, she quickly took his bag from him and put it away before he could go to the trouble. She acted quickly enough. He wouldn't need to use any more energy to make decisions and could just relax. Eventually, he fell asleep with his head on her lap, finally looking truly at peace. Lizzie stroked his hair and stared down at him, watching. Life proceeded normally enough. A significant part of the campus was busy preparing for the arrival, but there was even more people who didn't know or didn't care. But it mattered to John, and so it mattered to Lizzie. Lizzie had joined him in spending time with the preparations, and it had seemed to go well. She was glad to see John invested in something like this. But when she came home for class one day, she realized that she might have gotten it entirely wrong. John slumped on the couch, too unfocused to notice her. There was an emptiness in his eyes that she hadn't seen in some time, immediately making her heart hammer in her chest. "John, are you okay? Is something wrong?"
"I'm just a little tired. There's not a problem or anything."
"Of course there's a problem if you're not feeling okay. You don't have to pretend to smile for me, John. It's okay to be sad sometimes."
Thank you, Lizzie. It's nothing specific. I'm just having a bad day.
I get that, John. I get that shit, man. Don't even worry about it. Then stay right here and don't worry about anything. She skipped closer to him and gave him a quick hug and kiss, but didn't try to press. Instead, she moved on to the kitchen, getting something simmering. When John was depressed, he didn't want to eat. She just learned that trying to force it could turn bad, but the smell would slowly get through to him. While doing her work, Lizzie headed to the bathroom and counted his depression medication. It didn't seem like he had forgotten or that he had taken more than usual, which was good, but though his medication helped, he couldn't make his life perfect. There had been time when she had desperately hoped that she could get to that, or that she could do that. She still wished that she could, but she knew that his sadness didn't mean that he didn't love her. All she could do was be supportive. When she came back out, he had slumped back further, but she saw a bit more relaxation in his posture. Suddenly her heart ached with love for him, so intense that she had to support herself in the doorframe. Ever had one of those feels, Aaron? Just walk into a room and just fucking collapse against the door like, I love that person so much!
I thought something was so cute I kicked my feet like a fucking schoolgirl once.
That's basically the same thing. Like, let's be honest here. She just fucking like turned the corner, looked at him, and then just grabbed the door from him like, oh god! It's too much! There's too much love! I'm overdosing on love! Oh god. She didn't deserve him. He was always so supportive, so kind, even when it cost him. It was easy to just bask in his presence, to see him as a shining paragon, but her John was human, had limited resources. If she had missed the signs as she sometimes did.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna try a thing.
Go ahead, my dude. One of Lizzie's fingers slid up to her mouth, and she started to bite down on it, but she pulled back. John wouldn't want her to do that. Instead, she moved into the room, determined to give back this time. She checked on the soup, and she went to sit beside of him, just touching his side a little, being present without demanding anything of him. John smiled at her but didn't say anything. It was a quiet smile that faded into sadness, but she loved it too. These incidents always magnified her love for him. She didn't love his depression, but when he was like this, he seemed truly real that she couldn't take her eyes off of him. Lizzie restrained herself and just sat supportively. After a time, though, she shifted. Later on, maybe they could eat, but until then... Do you need to talk about anything?
I'll be okay. I think I just overextended myself preparing for Kelsey's visit.
Oh, I haven't been pushing you too much, have I? I liked when we worked together before, so...
No, I didn't mean it like that. There's just so much to do.
But you don't have to do it all, remember? Just don't push too hard.
You're right. Thanks, Lizzie.
Lizzie thought their conversation had gone well, but she was plagued by doubt. She hadn't noticed the depression incoming, hadn't been able to prevent it. She began going over every interaction in minute detail, wondering where she might have neglected something. I just skipped 2 things of dialogue. Lizzie realized that she needed to get out of her head. If she let herself keep thinking that way, she would be spending an evening developing elaborate plans to kill someone or kidnap John to safety. She needed to do something. But what? Be quietly supported or talk about issues? I think now's a quiet time. I really do think that now needs to be a quiet time. Like, they just need to, like, chill out, you know what I mean? I think that's probably what needs to happen here. Lizzie decided that it was her turn to carry him. She doted on him for the rest of the evening, getting everything he needed, eating with him when he got hungry, and staying close. When they finally went to sleep, she held him gently, glad to see some of the tension finally easing from his face. He actually fell asleep beside her in a way that he hadn't in some time. Oh, look at the support. We got supportive. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Can you guys see that? You guys can't. Dang it.
The picture does look like a crazy Ashley.
It does, doesn't it?
Mo bigger.
Ashley grows up, fucking turns into Lizzie. That's how it happens, man. Once he was asleep, Lizzie let herself stare at him without trying to hide anything in her gaze, drinking him in. This was her John. She had to protect him. As she fell asleep, Lizzie settled on another thought. This visit might be a good thing, but she would be very glad when it was over. We've gone like an hour and a half into this game, and there hasn't been any actual killing yet, or blood or anything.
I feel like the options have been there.
The options have definitely been there. But I don't want her to go. I don't want her to be sad, Aaron. I went through this game before. I went through this game before when she was at her worst as John, and my inner John is being like, "No, Lizzie, you have to do better. You have to be safe.
Protect Psycho Girl.
You are best."
The lewds.
I just want to lewd you, Lizzie. Remember that time you kidnapped me and took me to your house and fucking kept me there for a week and we talked about random bullshit? That's what I want, except not the kidnapping. You've technically already we're already in a house, Lizzie. You don't have to kidnap me. When the day finally came, it wasn't as grand as all the build-up had led Lizzie to expect. It was just another speaker coming to campus, after all. And as one of the better universities in the region, they got plenty of speakers. The growing power of the pharmaceuticals was somewhat a hot topic, but it was hardly a source of celebrity. Her expectations had been tempered by John's attitude, though. Aaron and some of the other organizers were exhilarated, as if it was a visit from the guest speaker would change everything. But as usual, he was more reserved. It was one of the things that made his love for her so special, and she loved that part of him. The low-key nature of the entire thing did a lot to calm her anxiety, though. Lizzie had filled many pages of her notebook with plans in the event of an attack, but given that this was one stop on a long speaking tour, it seemed less likely that Koitek would actually try anything. They were headed out to attend soon, and though it was going to be as casual as most events on campus, Lizzie had dressed up a little out of habit. She lingered by the cabinet, trying to select which weapons to take along with her. Huh, do I take the thinking knife, or do I take the murder hatchet?
I actually think Grand Theft Auto had thinking grenades.
Opens grenade throws. Opens grenade throws. Opens grenade.
As I saw from that, I was like, I could throw them into water, and it's actually kind of majestic. Watching explosions in water.
The problem was that she had so room for few. Her axe, of course, but the knives were always a problem. Of course, her axe, like, she's not savage. Of course she's gonna bring her axe, guys. Ready to go, Lizzie? Almost, John. Just let me pick a knife and I'll be right with you. She just fucking tells him straight up. Almost, John. Just let me pick a knife and I'll be with you. He leaned against the nearby wall, watching her thoughtfully as she chose. He doesn't give a fuck. After a moment, he spoke slowly. Oh, maybe he does. I'm just wondering, would you be happy if Kelsey managed to destroy Koitek somehow? Of course. It's a terrible company. It gave you that awful drug and tried to take us apart. But she isn't going to destroy it. Just regulate it. Maybe things will get better, but I want revenge. I meant destroy in a metaphorical sense, dismantling the corporation. You're more thinking leveling it to the ground. You know me so well, John. Blood and flames! Fucking blood and flames! Let's do it! Lizzie answered happily and finally picked out a slender knife. A good balance of range, heavy enough to be durable, but thin enough to augment her axe with stabbing potential. She set it to its place and turned to him. But I don't mind things like this. Anything that works against them is good. And though I don't want you to hurt yourself, I'm happy that you care about this so much. But if there was some way to leave them intact but ensure they never bothered us again, I'd take it, of course. You're the most important thing. She leaned forward to give him a kiss, letting this one linger. It might be their last until the serious event was over, so she wanted to enjoy it. Not that she minded waiting. It made the next kiss, when they came together, all the sweeter. I just wanted to say that you're the most important thing to me, too. Sorry if I seem preoccupied by all this. No, it's fine. I like to see you focus on things you love. Hold on, I need to make something now. I need to make something in the commands here. Go ahead and add one. The command is gonna be do perfect. All right, guys, I made a new command for AshleyBot. Let's go ahead and put that in the chat here. Did it do it? It did it! I made blood and flames. There we go. Perfect. It's fine. Well, I don't take you for granted. I hope I never do. Oh, John, if you keep talking like that, we won't make it to the event. Hell yeah, we won't. He chuckled and offered. He chuckled and offered him his arm, which he gladly accepted, and they headed out to the hall to hear the speech. Nice. Mrs. Kelsey, I got an achievement. Yeah, you guys just can't see when the achievements come up. That sucks. Is there a way that I can change that on Streamlabs?
There's a layer you can capture. There's the overlays. I don't know. I've had it where I couldn't get rid of it sometimes, and I kept getting Steam messages popping up.
Oh, okay.
Then I had it where I couldn't get it sometimes.
I'll just leave it alone. There's no response. Oh, right, you're right. I should do a. You're right, guys. I should do a phantom response. My bad. What's up, Ann?
Can I still be poopy, by the way?
No, you're good actually.
Good.
You're really good.
Yeah, I figured it out.
You sound sex. I'm kidding. Huh? What?
I mean, I know I do. That's one thing I'll take it.
All right, let's see here.
This thing.
All right, Okay, let's do this. I need to make a response for Ashley for the Phantom the Prince Phantom emote, because Prince Phantom did all kinds of drawings for Ashley and I love it. Do Phantom Heart.
Might have to restart. Games.
Okay.
Alright, I'll be right back. My computer's being bad. But I fixed the thing, so I'm happy. Save. Oh, it's already closed.
All right, try putting the Phantom emote in, Isno. Let's see if this worked. I know that. Prince made me pretty. Oh, I didn't do the thing. Oh wait, did I put a Rashly? A Rashly. That's what we need. We need a Rosh. No, it's supposed to be Dear Ashley. All right, I did. Did I not do it right? Hold on. Oh, right. I can make it capitalized here. Maybe that's how I need to do it. Try one more time, Isno. Hey, what's going on here? How are you?
Yeah, and my monitor works again.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm just trying to get the Prince Phantom emote to work so that Ashley responds to it. Is Ashley bot not sub? No, Ashley bot sub to us. Don't worry. I spent money. There we go. Perfect. It did it. It did it, my dudes. Because Phantom's the one that made the Ashley emote. She's the one that made the Dear Ashley emote. He's really cute. All right. All right. They arrived in the hall and unsurprisingly full. What did you do, by the way? How'd you fix the robot?
I found someone who had a similar problem a year ago.
Mhm.
I switched to Discord's legacy voice programming.
Ah, look at you, so smart. Every time, I will say this, every time I have a problem or every time I can't find something, you do it within like the first like fucking minute because I never think to look anything up.
Where's this porn from? Oh, I got it.
Dude, like seriously, I gave you an image of this like freaking bunny girl, and I'm like, I know it's from a porn because someone said it was from a porn. I was like, I know this is from a porn somewhere. I don't know what it's from. Within 5 minutes, you come and tell me what it's from. Like, you're like,
curious.
I searched it, I figured it out.
I was like, I think I saw it before. Was part of it. I was like, I need to remember. So I was like, reverse image search. Let's do this.
Isno just gifted a tier 1 sub to Falcon. Ah, look at you. You've given 5 subs, Isno. You've given people 5 subs. I had to gift Ashley a sub, or I had to gift Ashley bot a sub so that Ashley could use the emotes. Somebody go and start spamming some Dear Ashleys in chat, man. That deserves some Dear Ashley spam.
That's you.
That's me. Also, apparently I grew up to be a yandere. That's weird.
Grew up to be yonder.
What do you mean grow up?
You're about to kill a vampire so you can cuck him while he dies.
I do want to cuck him. That is actually completely true.
I have the thing, not you.
Irina is mine. Although I don't really want her, but she's mine.
Carry her off into the sunset. As soon as you cross the gates of Barovia, you just throw her off into a ditch. Like, bye, Irina.
Bye, Irina.
I don't carry you the whole way. It's a 3-day trip to town.
You can still come, I guess, if you really want to. Just make yourself useful. They arrived and found the hall surprisingly full. I need to stop going into my regular narration voice and going to my Lizzie narration voice. They arrived and found the hall surprisingly full, although almost enough to make her wish they had arrived earlier. But it would be fine. Aaron waved to them from near the front, but those seats were already full, so they took ones near the back. Aaron's like, well, fuck off then. Fine, I didn't want you guys to sit down here with us or anything.
It's not like there was these 2 seats you couldn't see that I saved for you.
I'll just have my activist bitches sit in them.
All right, Bay 1, Bay 2, let's do this.
Just like calls back toward them. John, Lizzie, you could have been Bay 1 and Bay 2.
Now you're just fam.
You don't know where Ashley's from, Falcon? Ashley's from the game, man. He's from the Strahd game that we have on twitch.tv/ is it Blazing Azure Crow that Strahd game's on?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's on twitch.tv/ the Blazing Azure Crow on Thursdays. It's pretty good. It's a really, really good Curse of Strahd campaign. I don't know. Here's the thing. I can't say it's a really good Curse of Strahd campaign because I've never seen any other Curse of Strahd campaigns, but I think it's a really good Curse of Strahd campaign.
I've seen one other, and I can't really understand how to grade myself compared to them because it's being run by one of the guys at Wizards of the Coast. And I'm like, well, you have to get it right because you made the game.
But I consider it a very good game. It's good to see our work wasn't wasted, at least. Lots of people seem interested. Lots of people from the community, too. It doesn't surprise me. Koitek may not have any direct presence here, but they manufacture so many drugs, people have to know about them. Lizzie reached out to hold his hand while they waited for things to get started. He took it and chatted casually with her until it was finally time. After some awkward testing at the mic and a squeal of feedback, the dean managed to quiet people down. Lily gave an introduction to Francisca Kelsey. Lizzie wasn't able to focus on it. She already knew the information and was essentially just a formality anyway. More importantly, Lizzie looked for the woman herself and found her seated near the front. She looked like her pictures. Nothing out of the ordinary, but Lizzie shifted her gaze between her and the exits just to be sure. When Francisca Kelsey took the stage, Lizzie... Oh god.
Surreptitiously.
I knew it. I could do that. Surreptitiously, I got that. I knew that was a word. Does surreptitiously mean it?
How would I describe surreptitiously? Fucking, you know, it's not a word I use all the time. It's just what
True
I know
enough.
how to
True
say.
enough. They're Isno's trying so hard to
Yeah.
figure out.
It's secretively. That's what it was.
Isno's trying so hard to figure out how the Ashley bot works, so he's like putting a Dear Ashley in front of a shit ton of red dab emotes, and it says just the Ashley part. Then he put a red dab emote in front of all the Prince emotes, and it just said the red dab part, where it's like, oh, nobody likes that guy.
It always prioritizes the first emote.
Yeah. But she had been wrong to worry. She shifted to his purely focused mode, interested only in what she had to say. Oh, she doesn't even get a portrait. On my first day of work at the FDCA, my supervisor said that I should look for another job, because the organization wouldn't be needed for long. She was a good speaker, though her speech had the feeling of one that had been repeated a huge number of times. It had an air of authenticity, but it was a practiced authenticity. Lizzie could only focus on the background anyway. While listening idly, Lizzie came to a realization. Something she had never been said to John, probably something she should discuss with him. She squirmed a little in her seat, wondering what thoughts he might have about it, but she couldn't interrupt. Some people might have said that Koitek created her, with their ill-advised experiment when Abby was pregnant. Lizzie never felt that way. Until now, she had not reflected on the fact, but she understood why. The experiment might have made her different from other girls, but Lizzie didn't care about that. What mattered to her was the person she was now, shaped by her years of growing up, and most importantly, shaped by John. Her world had felt so hollow and empty, and then when she had found him, she had been monomaniacal in her focus on him, but he had opened up a new world of possibilities for her. Unable to contain herself, Lizzie leaned over and kissed John on the cheek. He blinked in surprise and then smiled at her, resting her head against his shoulder. Lizzie just let her focus drift back to the speech for a moment. The industry's lobbyist would have you believe that their self-regulation has been and will continue to be effective. The primary example is that it always... Sorry, I wrote this down so many times. Don't stop you in the back, stop laughing. This is rehearsed, I know. And we'll cut this out. We'll cut this out from the video. Yeah, just cut it out. Just cut it out from the video. Fucking kids. The primary example that is always brought up is how I never can get this word. I always stop at don't I, Jerry? Jerry, don't always stop at this word. Thalidomide.
Thalidomide, that was a big thing that caused a lot of mutations in babies in like Cold War era.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that drug. Am I right, everyone? Fuck that drug.
If you get little flipper hands and stuff,
Oh, damn.
it's no good.
Was kept out of the United States, and so many children were spared birth defects, except for Lizzie back there. Lizzie, I see you! Most notably, many of the newest drugs have been produced to treat conditions that were fundamentally subjective. Their consequences, if any, will take years to emerge, and may not always be so clearly defined as birth defects. Make no mistake, there are people alive today bearing the scars of this unchecked research. Sooner or later, they will come forward. Alright, later, Twinklings. Lizzie sat tensely, deciding to hold her in her concern over that development, but John had already considered that. He squeezed her hand and bent closer to whisper to her. Are you alright? John, would you want me to step forward and do that? No. His answer came immediately. Lizzie was a little surprised, and John seemed to have taken himself back, but after a moment he smiled. No. You matter more to me than all of this. Anyone who stepped forward will be surrounded by a horrible amount of controversy. I want you here with me. People are putting the Ashley emote in front of a lot of salt, and then Ashley Bot says that's me still.
That's amazing.
That's me. I'm Ashley with a bunch of salt. I'm a salty, salty girl.
Pirate Ashley.
What?
Pirate Ashley.
Pirate Ashley?
Mm-hmm. Like a salty dog.
I'm a salty sea dog. I need to make a response for the salt emote, but I'll do that later. Her smile widened and Lizzie leaned in to kiss him, tears in her eyes. She had so many things she wanted to say to him, but some people around them were already glaring at their whispering. When the two of them kissed, most of the glares rolled their eyes and turned away. Yeah, whatever, get out of here, I'll fucking have my thinking knife on you in a second. The speech ended with Francisca's usual conclusion. The FDCA was toothless compared to the pharmaceutical giants, and the world would need a more comprehensive set of regulations. Part of Lizzie's mind acknowledged this was true, but it seemed very distant and clinical though compared to the warmth inside of her. After the speech, the floor was open to questions, which drew their attention away from each other. This was the part John was most interested in, after all. Lizzie agreed with him that they were most likely to hear new information during that part. The first person to get the mic asked a boring, generic question about what students could do in the face of giant companies. She also had a flirtatious walk, so Lizzie scowled at her for both reasons. Soon, though, Aaron was in the mic asking a question. Yo, what up? It's Aaron! I'm kidding.
One sec. I'm also talking to Brett. You covered the potential impact on the United States well, but only spoke in vague terms about the need for international regulation. What impact do you expect the rise of pharmaceutical giants to have on the global south?
Aaron, of course you want to talk about other fucking countries, you Canadian.
What about Brazil, lady?
Tell me about Brazil, damn it!
They make good rum. They need to live to continue doing so. They have $3 bottles of rum in Brazil that we sell for $60 up here. If you drink them in Brazil, it's considered ghetto. But we're like, ooh, foreign. It's delicious. I don't care what any of you say. Anyways, back to medicine.
It was a question Lizzie hadn't given much thought. She reflected that Aaron was always caring about impoverished and disadvantaged people. That was not a trait Lizzie shared, but looking at it objectively, she decided it was a good form of kindness. She appreciated kindness in John, so she should give Aaron some credit as well. Yeah, cool. Outside of her mind, Francisca paused only for a moment before answering. Her response was smooth, but it lacked the practiced air of her speech. Any large corporation is going to have a global impact, of course, and we'll see it especially in the rainforest and the mineral-rich countries. Needless to say, those relationships will be exploitative. But I think we should be most suspicious of the actions that actually seem most benevolent, specifically the ostensibly altruistic donations of drugs to various countries for free or produced at cost. For example, I have long believed that Cesraz Inc. is distributing insufficiently tested drugs and effectively using the supposed beneficiaries of their donations as test subjects. But there can be serious concerns even for well-intentioned attempts, such as the mental stimulants of the Meringerber AG donated to the sub-Saharan Africa. They have a positive impact on test scores, yes, but those drugs have serious long-term side effects when not taken according to the rigid schedule. Given the reality of the situation, both financial and personal, many recipients simply won't follow or even have a chance to follow the proper course. We'll be seeing the consequences for that for years. A decent question, if not one that held particular interest for her. Lizzie listened for a few more bad questions before she sensed a general movement in John's body and realized that he was getting up to ask a question of his own. She nodded to him and let go of his hand. She listened in irritation as other people asked questions, but it finally was his turn. He cleared his throat nervously, but wasn't so uncomfortable that he might have been before. For those of us who want to have a career in this field, where do you think we could make the most difference? What balance do you see between regulating from the outside and trying to change organizations from within? In modern uses, actually serves as an anti-cancer drug as part of the treatment for leprosy. Really, Isno? I didn't know that. Not a bad question, though Lizzie found herself wondering just how much it mirrored his thought process. He had discussed his thoughts about the future with her, of course, but there was something different about hearing him state it out loud in front of so many people. A good question, but a difficult one. I'd like to believe that the best answer is the FDCA or another regulatory body, but I'm not sure I'd recommend that to someone who hasn't started their career to go in that direction. We'll see what happens with our lobbying over the next few years. As for reforming from within, I'm tempted to say it's impossible. Look at Solsith. It carried the Japanese economy for a time, but now internal conflict is threatening long-term deflation. In my mind, the biggest threat is that corporations will lack meaningful competition and make it effectively impossible for anyone to regulate them. So honestly, what we might need is more than anyone is business majors. I got a laugh from the audience, but it struck Lizzie as a serious answer. John pondered it as well. His eyes contemplative. I swear to God, I can speak words. Contemplative as he returned to the sit beside of her. Lizzie was dying to know his thoughts, but for now, she just smiled as she sat down beside her. Guys, I haven't played a visual novel in months. I'm getting tongue-tied. It sucks. None of the questions after that were particularly notable. Lizzie began to get nervous as the time ran out, since if something bad were to happen, it would likely happen toward the end. Oh, Blue, there was another comment higher up that has more details. Yeah, I read the comments whenever I can, but you know, I just say things out loud whenever they're or something that I didn't really understand too much. But yeah, I got you, man. I got you, my dude. Yet it ended without incident in every anxious situation in the years since the battle with Koitek operatives. But she was only slowly beginning to relax. If all those events had gone smoothly, maybe their wedding would as well. And if that was true, then what were they waiting for? Lizzie gazed toward John as they headed out, pondering the thought. There were so many things they were dealing with, so many considerations, so many thoughts, and it was wonderful just being with him. There was no need to rush. Setting the matter aside, Lizzie happily discussed the speech with John as they headed home. There would be discussion groups, but the only person she wanted in her group was him. They talked late into the night and happily fell asleep in their clothes. In the middle of a boring psychology class, Lizzie patiently listened to the lecture while she worked on her notebook. She was drawing lots of pictures of John now, and getting a little better at it. Sometimes her focus drifted, though, and she found herself writing his name over and over again. Now that the event was past, most of their immediate fears had been put to rest. At least temporarily. If Koitek wasn't likely to be tracking them, then she had more options. Maybe they could get married after all. If so, she was disappointed that she made them wait so long. But how to get to that point? Though she didn't worry about making John afraid of her, she didn't want to add any stress to his life by seeming so insistent. And yet,
had to be perfect. Their wedding would be another cherished memory of their lives together, and she wanted to carry that around forever. So Blue only responds to questions he doesn't understand. Blue, well, you read this out loud. While you read that out loud, I don't just respond to questions that I don't understand. But a lot of times, whenever I read sentences in comments, I just kind of read them to myself silently. And if I feel like it's something that won't take too much away from things, I'll say it out loud. Such as if I look at Isno's original comment, I was looking at it was saying that it was still in use today, and I did know that things like that were still in use today. However, the more interesting part of it to me was that it was used for anti-cancer treatments. I thought that was a really interesting part to it. That's why I said it out loud. And as far as yours said doesn't respond to questions, so those usually get me to respond to them immediately, because I'm like, oh yeah, fucking let's go. You think I'm not gonna respond to something? Fuck, let's go. You want me to friggin' fight you? I'll fight you. So yeah. I know there was I just said there was a comment before that one. I know there was one. I looked at it. It just wasn't something that I found particularly, like, interesting to say, because it wasn't something that the second one was something that I could just kind of say and get on with, like, oh, it was a cancer drug, that's really cool, an anti-cancer drug, that's really neat. Whereas the first one would have been like, oh, it's a viable drug still in use today. The problem is that it has two things I don't know how to say that word, so while one thing is that and the other thing is that, I don't have enough information in my own head to be able to explain that comment well enough, so I'm just gonna leave you to that. Whereas in the second comment I was like, oh, they use it as an anti-cancer drug. That's really cool. You know what I mean? That's how things go. That's how things usually go with me. And I know there was something else. Again, it mostly just, if I don't have enough information on a subject to feel like I can give my own opinions of it, I usually just keep it to myself. You know what I mean? Anywho, a small part of her did worry that he was putting it off for some reason of his own. She couldn't doubt that he was fully committed to her, but there was a difference between living together and actually getting married. The professor said something that drew some of her attention away from what really mattered. That list sounded like it would be in the exam, and he did like to include things that were lecture only to catch sleeping students. Lizzie quickly scribbled it down to memorize later, irritated at the distraction. The only reason she was even in this class is that she needed a credit to graduate. At first, Lizzie had actually been interested, wondering if she could learn anything about depression that could actually help her be a better partner to John. But mostly, this class was just useless. Everything was focused on specific patterns of thought and declaring them to be unnatural, when they didn't seem any stranger than the way most people thought, at least not to her. Trying to engage it with mentality just irritated her. And what they said about depression just made her angry. They talked about depression like it was a simple problem that could soon be cured. The professor was even a fan of Koitek. Lizzie was certain that if he had his way, they'd take her John and replace him with some different person. Without realizing it, her writing in the notebook had become sketchy and angry. Lizzie refocused and tried to draw him again. The way he looked when he came through the sadness and showed her the quiet happiness deep within his eyes. When the lecture ended, Lizzie wasn't quite there, so she bit her lip and tried to finish quickly. No one usually paid her any mind, so she could finish and leave herself in a good place with... Holy shit! Uh-oh. Lizzie reacted instantly at the voice over her shoulder, slamming her notebook and closed with one hand and reaching down to her axe with the other. She restrained herself from acting, instead focusing up at the girl beside her. That was some serial killer shit right there. Who told you? Aaron, bitch gonna get killed. I gotta kill her. She found me out. She's looking at my papers, man. She found me out. I don't think my personal drawings are any of your business. It's everyone's problem if you're stalking some random guy. Lizzie forced herself to smile and not mess everything up for him. Her body trembled just slightly as she put her notebook away and rose to her feet calmly. This isn't some random guy, it's my boyfriend. And does he know? And does he know you keep a stalker journal?
She's gonna die.
Falcon's like, she had an axe in her class. Dude, she took an axe to the assembly. I'm pretty sure she'd take the axe anywhere. Ho!
No, but that was beside the point. She didn't understand. She didn't understand at all. She was insulting the relationship. Lizzie evaluated her quickly. No physical threat, no capacity to put up any resistance.
Oh.
There's one response. Look at this. They're all say kill her, and then there's don't kill her yet. Is there anything else? Anything hidden out here? No? Okay. Let's not kill her yet, guys. Let's not kill her yet.
Taking a deep breath, Lizzie maintained control for John's sake and answered calmly, I don't think it's your place to meddle with our relationship. Yeah, no. This is just like when we were talking about last week. Either he doesn't know and you're a creepy as hell, or he does know and you have some kind of weird codependent relationship. If you can't see that you need help, you need someone to help you. You shouldn't say things like that. Look, I'm just applying what we're John is a kind person. He wouldn't judge me like you do. Then he's just enabling your condition. Lizzie took a deep breath and took a moment to think.
Oh god! Oh my god!
And the conversation quickly and acquire napalm.
All right, so let's see. Slit her throat immediately. Remove her fingers and feed them to her. Befriend her until an opportunity for extensive torture. End the conversation quickly. End the conversation quickly and acquire napalm. Bury her alive. End the conversation and tell John about it. Strangle her with her own intestines. Remove her cleanly and dispose of the body. How has this been the catalyst? We've had so many other events happen throughout this game. How is this the fucking catalyst for like disaster? Save game? All right, we can do that. It's a visual novel, I forgot. I want to say let's end the conversation and tell John about it. I want to say that's the one we want to do. I'm trying my best not to get a bad ending, guys. Like, maybe we'll go through this another time and go for like the craziness. But right now, we're trying to go through this. We're trying to live, my dudes. Trying to get through this without fucking killing everyone.
Only her promises to him prevented Lizzie from doing what she wanted to do. Instead, she gave the other girl a smile. The professor also said that analysis should only be done by professionals. Are you a certified professional? The response was nothing special. Only the best thing Lizzie could manage to while under such stress. Yet the other girl took a step back, suddenly uncertain. Look, I was just making an observation, okay? Perhaps you can make such observations about your own relationship. A moment later, the girl fled the class at remarkable speed. Lizzie suppressed the urge to give chase. To give chase, oh god! Hey, Hydro, how you doing, my dude? Oh, man.
About to turn into Berserker from fucking the other day.
Is this a lewd dating sim? It can be. If you go to options here, you can actually turn on adult content, but I'm not doing that because I'll get kicked off Twitch. Dude, I'd turn right into Berserker, man. Let's fucking go. Not lewd? It can be lewd. It's been, they mention things, they just don't show anything. That had not been entirely wise of her, but she didn't care about it right now. Her world was still hollow, and she slowly became aware that she was gripping the handle of her axe so tightly that it hurt.
Though her mind, she still knew exactly what she wanted to do. Lizzie remembered John and set those thoughts aside. Refocused, Lizzie carefully loosened her grip. She headed home at the highest speed that wouldn't draw attention. When she arrived, she threw herself into John's arms and held him tightly. He looked concerned as he hesitated for a moment before his words spilled out like a white-hot flood. She held nothing back, telling the story in a disjointed tangle of events, her emotions and what she wanted to do. John just held her and listened, not judging in the slightest. Being in his arms always calmed her. And soon Lizzie was closer to what others would consider normal. She did like being this way, happy and peaceful, and she could do more for John like this. It was an unintended side effect that stopped her from slaughtering anyone. John, thank you. I'm always here for you, Lizzie. As she regained clarity, she realized that she had added stress to his life by doing this. Though she berated herself for it, Lizzie knew that he didn't mind helping her in this way. Dude, don't just hope. He's wanting to be there for you, just like you're being there for him with his depression. Come on, girl. Come on. Let him know. Let him know. As she regained clarity, blah, 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 blah. Does it make you angry to hear the things she said? It does a little, but she probably just has a big head after learning a couple of new concepts in class and wants to use them on people. John's so kind, too kind. I'll always protect him. And I'm glad you do, Lizzie, but you don't need to hurt anyone to protect me, okay? Okay. She embraced him warmly, trying to pour affection into him instead of just receiving it. Part of her regretted not holding back her thoughts, since it drained him a little, but at least she knew that he would never judge her. She stayed in his arms for a while after that, setting aside her guilt for causing him stress and just indulging in his kindness for a while. The girl had been right about one thing: a normal boy could never have been with her. John was special. That was why they were so wonderful together. Even as she regained her full calm, however, one thing didn't change in her mind. Maybe it wasn't possible due to circumstances, but would it have been better to kill the girl? Alright, I'm gonna pause right here. I'm actually extremely hungry. I haven't eaten anything all day, so I'm gonna order IHOP if I can.
Hell yeah.
I tried ordering it the other day, Aaron, and like I found all kinds of neat things on the menu. One of them was French toast hot chocolate. Aaron, did you fucking hear me?
That sounds weird.
French toast hot chocolate.
That sounds weird.
Sounds very weird. I want it inside of me.
I get that.
So I'm gonna order some food real quick, guys. We'll probably keep going for a little bit longer than this, but I just wanna order it now because they'll close their delivery at 11:30 my time. So I'm one of those scumbags who order delivery like right before they fucking close. Hope it works this time. We're gonna try, Isno. We're gonna try, my dude. We're gonna get this French toast hot chocolate if it's the last thing I fucking do. Oh god, Isno put Ashley and then he put a bunch of like disease pictures and she's like, that's me. Oh god. Aaron, do you want me to order you anything?
Pancakes.
You want some pancakes?
Yes.
Alright, I still have your address, so let me see.
Be ridiculous.
What would you do?
I mean, I'd eat them. But I'd be so conflicted about it.
I'm gonna order you pancakes one day. It's gonna happen. You're just gonna get ding donged. And it's like, order for Aaron. It's just like, I didn't order anything. It's like, yeah, the note said you'd say that.
Give him the juicy McDonald's pancakes, because it's the only place near me that delivers pancakes. Because IHOP is our IHOP is in range to deliver, but Canadian IHOPs don't deliver yet.
Ah, gotcha. Well, I mean, you know, maybe through DoorDash.
Maybe we have skipped the dishes in another one. I don't know about DoorDash.
Well, I know that IHOP only just now started to be delivering to me for DoorDash. So I don't know. We'll figure it out one day. I'll send you some pancakes. It'll be fine. The note on the hot chocolate here says he knew you wanted it, and he said he liked it, and he wanted it to be inside of you. Play hot chocolate. The first thing I'm ordering. French toast hot chocolate. How is that even a thing?
That being IHOP. Oh, I think Logan and Carrie are back.
I'm not getting them any. I'm not getting them any pancakes.
No, they were just at a Thanksgiving thing. I don't think they want any pancakes.
Why didn't you have a Thanksgiving thing?
I think I got invited, but I didn't check the Facebook thing, so I found out about it 2 days ago, and I was like, I don't want to go get stuff for like a potluck that I'm not excited about going to, that I also just learned about.
Oh, okay.
So I stayed home and worked because I don't really care about Thanksgiving.
Well, happy Canadian Thanksgiving, and I don't care if you don't care about it.
It's an excuse to talk to my family, really, more than anything.
Mm. Did you use the excuse? Did you call him?
Nope. I just didn't go.
All right, so they have pumpkin spice pancakes, but they also have pumpkin cinnamon pancakes. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna order the pumpkin cinnamon pancakes, and then it'll have a side order of pumpkin spice pancakes. It's gonna be good. Or I could just order two side. Actually, yeah. If I order two side orders, then that'll just make a full order, right? I'm smart. I'm the smartest deco I know. I'm the smartest blue I could ever be. I'm the smartest smart I could smart. Handsome too. Anyway. I'll get 4 sausage links instead of cheese on them. Like, I could get all these pancakes, or I could get an omelet.
Omelette du fromage
Omelette du fromage.
or pancakes?
That's the question, isn't it? It's like...
Pancakes.
Alright, fine. You talked me into it, Aaron.
Omelets are good in theory until you're like halfway done. Pancakes are usually good like the whole way through.
Isno, just subscribe with a tier 2 sub. Isno, you can use the freaking the blue shames again. Great. Can't wait for you to use those and freaking get on me all the time with them again. That'll be great. Why did I fucking make that emote? Thank you very much, Isno. I'm gonna order some milk because I'm getting a lot of sweets here. I'm gonna get a milk as well. Throwing all that blue shame. Gosh. Now that somebody actually has a tier 2 sub, I need to make Ashley respond to it. Alright. Place order. Alright, so I'm getting hot chocolate, I'm getting milk, I'm getting pancakes. And the pancakes are gonna come with sausage links, and Buddy can have a sausage link. Buddy, you want a sausage link? You want some sausage? You want some sausage, Buddy? You want He's like, we're getting IHOP? I love IHOP. It'll be here, apparently, in like 30, 40 minutes. That's fine. Done. Alright. Back to this, my dudes. Sorry you've all been watching this without me doing anything. I need to have like something else on screen when I do stuff like that.
Classy, spooky music. I'm gonna go pee.
Okay, you do that. I believe in you. Do they deliver this late where you are? Grubhub deliver, or not Grubhub, DoorDash delivers like all night, I think, and because of that, they can deliver at any point where the store is open, and I'm pretty sure my IHOP stays open till like 2 in the morning. So, but for some reason, they don't allow delivery past 11:30. It's weird. It's really weird. I need some milk. I need some milk. Can I have some milk, please? Buddy, are you okay? She just did respond to it? Oh, nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes... You're right. Nobody likes red. She only responds to the first freaking emote. Is no. Is no why? Is no. She only responds to the first emote, alright? She loves me. I am her god, her creator. She has to.
Ashley?
Huh?
She'd probably like you.
Yeah, I'm sure Ashley would like me.
She'd be like, "Hey, what's up? You wanna pet a cat?" And then a panther would show up.
And I'd be like,
Devin's dead.
I'd be like, I'm terrified, but.
I heard Ryan got to do that a while back.
Oh yeah.
Like years back. His girlfriend at the time was a wildlife conservation officer.
Mm-hmm.
And he stopped by at his house while he was transporting a cougar that he had to trank. They were gonna take it out like deeper in the woods and let it go. And he's like, "Do you want to pet a wildcat?" And he's like, "Do I?" He's like, "Oh, you're so cute. If you were away, he'd rip my head off."
I would love to give Kilala a pet.
I got to pet a deer. That's about the closest I got to any big old cats.
But this is a shame blue. She doesn't like this blue. Okay, yeah, she doesn't like blue shame. That's correct. That's probably true. Ashley probably doesn't like blue shame. I wish Squeaky would finish the next one that I have for her, because like she's been making an emote for me for a while, and it's basically like I think I'm gonna call it Blue Lude. I'm not sure.
Not blued.
It might be blued. Blued sounds better.
It just makes me think of like if you got attacked by Blue from Foster's Home from
You've been blued.
Y'all got blue. Or if you got like gooed in Uh-Oh. I don't also remember Uh-Oh.
I do not remember Uh-Oh.
It was that game show on YTV. It was like an older show that was aired in the 80s that they kind of brought back. And it's a kids game show like any other one where you play for prizes. But some of them you had to like, it was like trivia or a game. And if you lost, then you got slimed. And like the slime would come out. It's like a buff dude in an executioner's hood with just a bucket of goo, and he just dumps it to you on you in this chamber.
That kind of sounds like Figure It Out, but with a dude with a fucking executioner's uniform.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it.
How does she feel about Blue Suede? I don't know. Kind of sounds like Double Dare too. Yeah, it kind of sounds like Double Dare too. Again,
Double Dare, that's the one. Uh-Oh took its inspiration from Double Dare, and then they just put it on like later on in the 90s, because Double Dare was like 80s to early 90s.
and they made a executioner hood guy.
Yeah, fucking. Let's see if I can find him. I got a clip of it here. Is he around? Yeah, there he is. Okay, he's more like a guy from Mad Max and Executioner's Hood.
I know we had like Billy the Answer Head in Figure It Out, and we had like just like a random like thing of goop come down with Double Dare. Double Dare was awesome. Look at that guy. I'll push play on that.
The audio quality sucks. Oh, it's literally just a cam of someone watching it. Just chuckling doing something. Those kids got slimed.
Oh god.
Got 'em.
He actually just pours a bucket down on him. That's awesome. Oh man. After the incident, Lizzie spent a little while sorting through her remaining thoughts. She had completely filled up one notebook, and so she started a second and took it to her boring classes, and that bitch showed up again and I murdered her. Cook out my Glock. Math wasn't
my gun.
and I pull out my gun. Math wasn't boring, but she did find herself running her fingers over the edge of the notebook as she worked. Later, for now, she would finish the requirement. Lizzie didn't mind math. It was straightforward, free of judgments, though she didn't understand her professor's talk about the elegance and beauty. It didn't seem incomprehensible to her. He was alright for a non-John person. You're alright for a non-John person.
Hey, non-John.
I love how that's how she refers to people that she doesn't like. You're okay for a non-John person. After class, she floated across campus to return home. That annoying couple tried to engage her in conversation again, but she was able to make polite small talk without committing to anything and keep her way out without wasting too much time. When she arrived home, she found John looking at her notebook. Oh no, John. Don't look at my notebook. It's bad, John. It's bad. Don't do that. Just stop looking at my notebook, John. It's not a good idea. Her focus condensed down to a single point, flickering over everything. His posture, his eyes, the exact set on his mouth, the speed of which he looked up toward her. Once such a thing would have been terrifying. It still made her scared that sight might have gone too far this time, added doubt to his mind and ruined the relationship. And he did have a concerned look on his face, so there would be no simple, easy solution. Lizzie, are these the things you felt that you couldn't tell me? What? No, not at all. Okay. I do believe you.
Oh, alright.
Have you been keeping notebooks like this for as long as we've been together? She squirmed a little at that, her desire to smooth things over and make him happy, warring with her desire to be completely honest with him. I had books like these a long time ago, but no, I've only started again recently. That's the only one other than the new one I just started. Did something happen to make you more stressed? Is it something I've done? There was real pain in his eyes. Lizzie hated herself for a brief moment. She caused him more pain, just as she'd sworn to herself that she would never do it again. But her John never rushed to judgment, and he was strong. Even if he was often sad and she longed to protect him, the relationship had been through more intense things. This wouldn't be the end. Lizzie carefully sat down opposite him. It definitely isn't anything you did, John. And it isn't anything specific. I've just been a little anxious lately. I was worried the speech might be more of a problem. I can understand that. He kept leafing through the notebook, leaving Lizzie to squirm uncomfortably. It represented her true thoughts, but some of them felt a little awkward under his gaze, and she couldn't tell what he was thinking. The fact ate her up inside until she couldn't hold it back anymore. You don't hate me, right? Nothing in this notebook scares you? John looked up at her in astonishment. A moment later, he moved.
Usual.
Huh?
No more than usual.
Exactly. Look at his face. He's just like, what? A moment later, he moved forward to embrace her, and though it was painful, it was his honest surprise at her question that meant the most. She had just been paranoid, and there had been no need to fear. Oh, Lizzie. Of course I wouldn't hate you. I'm just sad that you were stressed, and I felt like you couldn't tell me. He wrapped an arm around her and pulled her, so they sat side by side, then pulled the notebook into his lap. When I read these, I mostly just see you. This is who you are, and I can feel your love for me on every page. It's creepy in a little bit of way, but it's mostly flattering. I mean, none of these show me being dead, so that's pretty good plus.
Turning the page on one of her drawings of killing Smythe, his lips twitched into a bit of a smile.
These are, I don't know, cute? I've seen you murderous, Lizzie, and this is different. Playful. If this helps you release your feelings, I think it's healthy. Oh, John, you're such a good boy!
Oh, John, I should have known you'd understand.
I'm not perfect, but I'm always here, and I want to understand you. Which is why I have to ask, is this really nothing? Is there a reason you've been more stressed lately? Is it things like the girl in your psych class?
Lizzie sighed and leaned against his chest, considering. It was a difficult question, not because she had to think about what the best answer would be, but also because she wasn't entirely certain herself. In her mind, her thoughts all flowed together. Speaking with him made her feel clearer, but it wasn't always easy. Reassurement isn't his fault. Ask him to help with dealing with stressors. Explain the thoughts that went into the notebook.
Oh my god, this is hard. This is the hardest decision. Oh shit. Aaron. I could reassure him it isn't his fault, because I know that he has his own problems. He has his depression that he's working through and stuff like that, and he is being very supportive no matter what. However, I don't know if that's the best case here. Ask him to help with dealing with her stressors. That's definitely something that he could do, but again, that's going to be adding more onto him, which he just also added work onto him, which would mean that that's going to be making him more stressed out. Explain the thoughts into the notebook. I don't know what that entails, but that seems like the best option. What do you think?
You've written down your options. Reassuring him whether or not you think he's the kind of person to be reassured.
It's really hard because, like, I was him in the first game, you know? Like, his personality, I don't know his entire personality because this is a different game. I feel like explaining things is the best option. Reassuring him might be good because it'll be okay, here's how I think. I think reassuring him will be best for him, because it will make him understand that he's not there's no problematic things with him, and it won't like be on his depression or anything at all. It won't beat him up over it. I think asking him to deal with stressors would be best helping her, because that would mean that she'd have more people on her side, more people that can help her with things in particular, but that would definitely overstress him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The first one would overstress her. The second one would overstress him. The third one seems like, I'll explain everything, but I'm not sure what's going to come from that. I feel like the best answer that Lizzie would want to give is probably 1. But explaining things is probably, this is hard.
Here's what I was thinking of when I wrote it. See, she looked at you, and I wanted her to die. And then later, she was crossing her legs, and I thought I could break them, and I could just make it look like I tripped. I could even hurt myself. Everyone would believe me. Then I was looking at you, and I forgot about stuff for a while. That's where all the hearts came from. And then I looked back at her, and that's where all the pictures of the knives came from.
What does that mean from you, Aaron? Is that a no on the explain things?
No, it's just me having fun.
I'm gonna explain things. That's the one I went with first. I'm gonna explain things. Let's go.
You mentioned the terrible girl from psych class, all the awful things she said about us.
Lizzie flipped to the page where the event occurred. Pages, actually. She'd forgotten how much she had written after that. Though now it was crystal clear to her.
After it happened, I felt everything. I hate her, John. I still wish I could get rid of her.
But you won't, right?
No, writing it down, it captures what I'm feeling somehow. When I look over it again, I'm reminded of all the emotions. But there's some distance now. They're not as strong inside of me.
I think I get that. Maybe this is a healthy thing. Though I do worry that sometimes you get yourself more worked up about writing about your thoughts.
But it doesn't have to be writing, John. I get the same effect from talking to you, and it's better that way, not just because I'm talking to you, but because you always have new thoughts and interesting things to say, and so sometimes I think about things differently.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I'm always here to talk, Lizzie.
I know, it's wonderful, but I don't have to share everything, do I? Sometimes what I'm thinking is just silly and it doesn't matter. I don't want to waste your time.
He considered it very seriously, then pulled her a little closer with a smile. You can tell me anything at all, Lizzie, but don't feel obligated. Unless you don't have a working brain, everyone has tons of minor thoughts. They just pass through your mind. They don't matter unless you focus on them. I mean, I have a lot of dumb little thoughts. There's no point sharing.
That's not true. I'd love to hear every single thought you ever think. Fucking let me in, John.
I believe you. That's definitely what I believe. I've been through that. You did kidnap me. But since that's not the world we live in, we can just talk to each other, okay?
She eagerly nodded and pressed herself against him closer. She was right to talk to him. John always had good things to say. But as warm as things were between them, Lizzie felt a bit of hesitance. When she looked at his face, she saw something shift and realized there was something less pleasant he wanted to bring up. Had something in the notebook upset him? Her heart began hammering in her chest.
There is one thing we need to talk about, though. This page, for example.
Lizzie blinked in surprise and scanned it quickly. It was a page of dense writing that she talked about him, largely about her love for him and many other things. What could be amiss there?
What's wrong with this page?
You always write pronouns for me with a capital letter. What? Are you really fucking getting on to me for my grammar, John? Wait. Is this fucking serious? Is John a grammar Nazi?
Of course, John, you're not like any other boy. You're the only person for me.
I'm glad you love me, but I don't know about this. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with it.
What do you mean? What? Why not?
She stared at him, hiding the true dismay from her face. Inside, she was panicking. Usually, John was so calm and steady. She loved him. I don't understand what's going on, Aaron. What's going on?
A question. Is this game originally Japanese or is this an American-made game?
I don't know.
I know it's set in the United States, but I'm not sure if it's
I don't know. I think it's original.
Might have been like a Japanese thing where it's the honorifics she would have been using, and
Maybe.
they just made it the fucking punctuation.
Maybe. I don't fucking know.
Or he just takes his punctuation really serious.
I don't know, man. Usually John was so calm and steady, she loved understanding more about him, but he actually felt confused. It was always terrified her, forced her to wonder if she was somehow drifting away from him forever.
I know how intensely you feel things, but this feels like a little much. I want you to be my partner, Lizzie. I don't want you to worship me.
But John deserves it. You're wonderful and I love you with my whole heart.
I know that, but since I love you too, I have to be honest with you, and this worries me a little bit. This capitalized version of me, is that really me? I'm almost afraid all this is for someone else that represents me, but isn't me in truth. Oh, look at that weird face. Oh man, that's heart-wrenching right there. Oh shit. That's like a
face.
That's a face, you know what I mean? That's a
He's doing that hurt.
God.
No, it isn't like that at all.
She clutched him to her, his head against her chest while she gripped onto one hand with his hair. But though through her dismay she began to understand. The thought upset her a little. The idea that she might be worshipping some false form of him was terrifying. She could understand it. John was still her John. If I just refer to you like any other boy, it doesn't feel right. Like I'm saying they're the same as you, and I would never betray you like that, John. Lizzie,
I think I can understand that. A little. Can you understand me too? I do, John, I do! She stopped gripping him. Aha! Look at this! Look at this shit! She fixed the grammar in her own fucking head!
What you would now?
She fixed the grammar in her own head!
Oh.
She stopped gripping him. Like she took the capitalization away.
That's hilarious.
What the fuck, Lizzie? So tightly and let him pull. She did. Then she just went right back to it. Him pull back slightly. They stared into each other's eyes for a bit, and they both smiled. Nothing like that had been changed their love for each other, and they both knew it. Lizzie leaned forward and kissed him gently. Okay, what the fuck? She's being inconsistent. John was
doing
being
her fucking best.
She's doing her best, man. She's doing her fucking best. John was being too humble, but she wouldn't argue over that with him. She understood why he was upset, and she didn't mean to suggest anything like that. Certainly not to him. She fucking did it again. And now she needed to avoid suggesting it to herself. Maybe she could accomplish the same thing another way. If it was only for her fear that she was betraying him that made her think that way. If she had no fear. She loved him. God, she's doing it. We're like, it's capital him and lowercase him. Even more utterly and totally than she ever had before. Then it wouldn't matter if she capitalized the word or not. Though she wasn't there yet, Lizzie felt peaceful enough to quiet her thoughts and just enjoy kissing him for a while. And kissing... Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Aaron, this is breaking me. Just enjoy kissing him for a while and kissing him. Aaron, I don't know if I can handle this anymore.
She's just busted now.
It's just, she's trying, but it's just not working. When they finished, John pulled back and smiled gently at her. Well, this has been quite a conversation. If you want to take a break, I'd understand, but if you want to keep talking, I'm here for you. All I want is for you to hold me a little longer, okay? Of course. He held her just like that for a long time. Even afterward, when they got their textbooks and began reading, he stayed close, letting her rest against him, so they were always touching. By the time they were ready to go to bed, Lizzie no longer felt nervous around him, discovering her notebooks, but she also had a feeling that she wouldn't need them anymore. Oh. Don't. Oh God! Did Lizzie oh God, Aaron. I have Ashley where she gets rid of links, right?
Yeah.
But like Jermel put in Lizzie.exe and it thought that was a link.
Yep. The dot anything if they're immediately next to each other, it's like that's a link.
Ah. Can I get like I wonder if I can like give her permission to like .exe. I wonder if I can like have those have permissions, you know? Like exemptions?
Perhaps.
Ew. I'll have to check on it a bit, guys. Whitelist, here we go. Whitelist .exe. We'll see if that does that. Guys, see if you can do a .exe. Whoa, what happened? Falcon, what did you do? Falcon, what did you do? Ashley timed you out. Whoa, guys! Did you all try to? What happened? Whoa!
Take it didn't work, and so everyone got purged.
No, like they were. This is before I did anything. This is before I tried doing a whitelist. You guys are putting in .orgs and stuff, guys. Try .exe. I just added that to a whitelist. Try .exe again. I'm watching. I'll know if you didn't do it. Try .exe. You did EXE? Someone try it. Someone try it. Let's go. I need to see it. Lizzie.exe is trashed. Yeah, it did stop. It did take it out. Okay. Let's make Lizzie.exe. We'll make that a whitelist. How about you guys try that now? Try it again. Try Lizzie.exe again. Ashley, you're going crazy. Hey, Lizzie.exe worked that time. Or did it? Okay, lowercase Lizzie.exe worked. Uppercase Lizzie.exe isn't. No, she can't ban you guys. She can't ban you. I don't have anything set toward banning. Don't worry. All right. So, if I scroll up, all right, what I'm going to do is until I figure this out, I'm going to take off link protection. You guys know better than to put links in the chat anyway. You guys haven't done that before. So until I figure this out, I'm turning off link protection. We have an emerald in the chat. He can take things. He can take things if people start going crazy. I mean, I actually give you money, so would a ban hurt here? Era, don't worry about it, guys. Nobody's gonna ban anybody. That's just the funniest thing, guys. I love Ashley just going fucking crazy on all of you. That was great. That was a great time. All right, guys. So, that's how much time we have left on the food getting. Heading to restaurant. Okay, they're going to the restaurant, guys. It's fine. Oh, look at this chance. Check out this awesome YouTube channel. God. I know that's my YouTube channel is no, but dang, what if I didn't have her turned off? You were pushing your luck there. Is no. Always trying to be a rebel. Life improved after their conversation. Lizzie overflowed with so much positive energy, that big dick energy, you know what I mean? She was constantly visiting John for extra kisses and showering affection over him. His reaction was more subtle, but she could feel that it had made a difference to him. There's too many hymns. There's too many capital hymns. Though Lizzie wrote in her notebook occasionally, she didn't take it with her anymore and didn't feel too much need for it. In fact, when Aaron invited them to a party with his friends, Lizzie felt so free of stress that she didn't mind them going. Aaron, she's starting to like you.
Hooray! She's gonna kill me later.
I'm pretty sure that you're probably gonna be like somebody on the list. Like I might actually get a choice to kill you later. Probably. You're the only other person with a portrait that has a name. To her surprise, the energy overflowed so much that she enjoyed the party a little. She kept an eye on John at all times, noting his position. He was speaking with a mixed group, casual, but not so casual that she worried about him. Since she was fine, she didn't mind spending some time with others. Aaron's friends were usually smart and thoughtful, if a little too passionate about irrelevant things for her liking. Fucking, oh god, Lizzie's just over like chatting up with Carrie and Logan. Just like, hey, what's going on? And they're just like, hey.
Fight about whether or not, I don't know, fairy tale is good.
She's like, I don't know anything about this weeb shit, but sure.
That's the irrelevant things on her side. She's like, oh, this is irrelevant. And they're like, you bitch, take it back. this is insanely needed. Falcon Film says Aaron.exe smashed all the women.
You know, I'll do my best. I make no guarantees.
Oh god, she's not seeing them as sluts anymore! At the moment, she was talking to a girl named Rose. She was always hanging out with Aaron, and they act as if they might be dating, though Lizzie also had a strong intuition that wasn't the case. It didn't matter to her, she just didn't pursue it. What mattered was that Rose showed no interest in John, and she didn't like how judgmental her psychology class was either. No alcohol at all, huh? You want to be Rose?
I was just reading an article about a guy in Nebraska ordering pizza for his grandma in Florida.
Alright, I'll be Rose. I love how that was the answer. Not judging, just wondering if there was a personal commitment or something. Lizzie was drinking water from her cup, though she hadn't thought about it. She knew the exact reason. Becoming intoxicated reduced her ability to enjoy John's presence and slightly decreased her combat potential. Thus, it was to be avoided at all costs. It's just not to my taste. That's cool. Honestly, some drinks taste so shitty, I wonder if people really like it, or if society just convinces everyone they need to like it because it's refined or whatever. Oh, I haven't thought about that before. Society convinces us all of these kinds of things. Like, who decided weddings should be these obscenely elaborate performances? And wearing white is just a vestige of absurd older custom. I was hoping to wear white for our wedding. Normally, Lizzie would have followed the tone of the conversation and not have offered any contradiction, since that would lead to annoyances. But for one reason Rose was acceptable is that she didn't get offended when people disagreed with her, which meant Lizzie didn't have to waste any energy on such things. That's 100% fine, but that's what you want. I just think some people only stumble into it because that's what society expects. But you're about the last person I'd expect to be that way, Lizzie. She's making friends, Aaron! I'm so happy!
Yeah.
I'm so happy for her, and she's not turning them into sluts in her mind. Huh, really? Yeah, it's pretty obvious you don't care about what other people think. I admire that. Oh, thank you. Lizzie gave her a smile that wasn't faked, one of the few smiles she'd given anyone other than him in the old days. It would never have happened.
By, she turns into a slut.
Huh?
He walks by, she turns into a slut.
I know, right? It would never have happened, but being together with John was so wonderful, she felt like she had an excess of happiness, enough to share with people who were acceptable company when he wasn't even there even. Their conversation didn't continue for too long after that, though, because of several of other Rose's friends showed up. She didn't try to press Lizzie to join them, so Lizzie was soon alone again. That was fine with her, though. She began to ponder if she could collect John and leave. The company didn't seem to have worn him down yet, so perhaps they could stay a little longer. While Lizzie considered that, someone else ambled up beside of her. It's Aaron!
There's a cute. Yeah, one sec. Enjoying yourself, Lizzie. Hi. Sorry, I was looking at Primrose pictures on Twitter.
Oh no, completely understandable.
Yeah, I knew you'd understand. You, Lizzie, being an avid Switch player.
Yeah, obviously, man. Sure, thanks for inviting us.
No problem. Glad to hear it. You two are hard to read.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, you seem to understand each other on a deeper level. Well, that's nice to see. Honestly, I wish I had a relationship that close. Of course, I don't have one at all right now.
I just love it if
everyone apparently.
I just love it if it was just like yeah, and then I just kept going, like I didn't go back to it, but I didn't think about it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had thought you and Rose. Aaron stopped for a full second, giving her a bizarre expression. He narrowed his eyes as if uncertain if she was being serious.
Do you really not know I'm gay?
Oh no!
I'm gay.
He's gonna go for him. He's gonna go for John. Fucking see red.
She's gonna turn into a slut.
You just see me walk past like, hey sweetie, grab on. He's like, no, go away, not you. I'm looking for John.
Where's Johnny boy? Need that ace.
Everybody sing Rip Aaron.
I like being alive. I like being alive. I like being alive.
And he had been laughing and talking
This
with...
comic I've been reading. This is a late guy ordered pizza for his grandma, but the police and fire people wouldn't do it because there's a hurricane. Papa John's got it there in 30 minutes and put the cell phone up to her ear. And then they posted a meme of the SpongeBob delivering pizza.
Yes. Dude, IHOP's on its way.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And he'd been laughing and talking with John earlier, and she remembered that he had slapped John on the back and had his hand linger too long, and not only was he single, but he had just said the thing about wanting a relationship like theirs.
Oh no!
Mm. It looks like my fly's down. I better be careful or something might fall out. It's like a divining rod, although his points towards the nearest John.
Stop, please. Oh god. This is gonna be great. This game is amazing.
No, I hadn't noticed.
I'm like, you have that look in your eyes. Damn, Lizzie. If you were anyone else, I'd almost be offended.
How can I see this image without hold on, there has to be a button. There we go. I need to screenshot this. Hold on, guys. I need this for a second, guys. Give me a second. There we go. Let's call the picture Rip Aaron. Here you go, Aaron. I'll just give this to you. You can have this now. As a memento of your dying.
What? You can make it my call display for people.
This is the greatest thing. This is the greatest fucking thing. I'm so happy right now. Okay. Let's keep going.
Oh, I'm just upset I didn't notice. I hope you find a man you love and you two get married.
Okay. I'm not trying to have a chip on my shoulder. It's just, the Midwest is pretty conservative. It's hard to get a good old bag of peen,
I mean it though. It took a supreme effort of will for Lizzie to finish the conversation without giving the wrong impression. Such a thing would have been impossible for her as she was 3 years ago. But thanks to John, she could do a better job at looking outside of herself. though it couldn't touch anything within her. She could intellectually understand what Aaron was saying to her. People disapproving of him was very similar to people who might disapprove of her. So her reaction didn't need to be faked, though.
Yeah, I don't like gays and murderous girlfriends.
That's how it works, man. She didn't think Aaron sensed any of the turmoil inside of her. When he finally left, though, she was relieved. How had she have missed something so important? Maybe Aaron was a good person, but most weren't. Lizzie had thought that she could focus on nothing but her relationship with John, yet now she realized that her focus had given her blind spots. There were other consequences, too. Lizzie presumed that John knew and was paying more attention to such things. She had been acting so close to Rose earlier in the party. Had some part of him seen it and worried that she might be interested in someone other than him? Oh my god. Oh god, there's a gay around John! Maybe John thinks I'm a gay for this girl!
Is that actually her train of thought?
It kind of is what it sounds like right here.
Does he think me a gay? But I wrote all of those things in my book about how I wish to sex him.
Oh my god. She didn't fear John would feel jealous. It wasn't in his nature, but he might find some way to doubt his self-worth, maybe wondering if he wasn't enough for her, if something else equally absurd. At his best, he would understand it was false, but if he was depressed... Lizzie realized that instead of taking a drink, she was chewing on the rim of her cup, hard enough that she tasted plastic. Better than her fingers since she was in public, but still a sign that she needed to pull back and reconsider. Slipping out as soon as she could, Lizzie headed back home, trying to integrate the new information. She had thought that the social understanding she had developed over the years growing up would be more than enough for her to navigate any social interaction, but plainly she was too narrowly focused on herself and John. That was where her attention should be, of course, but her anxiety was creeping upwards again and wouldn't stop until she felt confident in her analytical abilities again. That night, Lizzie decided not to write anything in her notebook. Instead, she just nestled up next to John and held him, which he gladly reciprocated. It didn't take her too long to fall asleep after that. Jeebus. The days passed freely enough, and they drifted closer to the end of the year. No threat materialized, but not much changed either. Lily was happy for each precious day, though, and clung closer to John. Things were easier now. She only wrote in her notebook occasionally, and often showed him that often showed him what she'd written. Classes remained tolerable, and she didn't have any problems with obnoxious classmates or other people. Despite all the attention surrounding the speeches and the potential overhaul of the FDCA, everything just stalled in committees. Aaron and a few others kept campaigning, but the interest overall died down. Oh, you know what I would have loved? If, like, the letters for Aaron were, like, in red. It was like, Aaron! And a few others.
Motherfucker.
There had been tension surrounding Aaron and his group, but with John wanting to be involved more, though Lizzie tried her best to hide her anxieties, he still noticed that she was uncomfortable when they were around others, and so, wonderful person that he was willing to withdraw. They spent much of their time together, which was bliss. It could work that way forever, couldn't it? John was an introvert anyway. She could provide everything he could possibly need. That would be ideal, but Lizzie wasn't certain. It was unfortunately impossible for them to be together every second of the day, and despite their best efforts, she was not perfect. Maybe it was better to develop some kind of secondary defenses, without mean giving him up to others temporarily and other unacceptable risks. Guys, I will continue in a minute. However, my IHOP is here. I'll be right back.
Fun fact for you, Chad. The Voyager 2 probe might be at the edge of interstellar space. And if it reaches there, it'll be the second human-made object to reach interstellar space. And then we might get sexy pictures of deep space because, you know, that's what we do nowadays. And then in a year and a few months, we're launching a new telescope that's going to replace Hubble. And it's going to be way bigger. And it's going to be cool. And I'm really excited about it. Science is a good thing. Need more people doing science. I will not make that the picture for Kiana. Yes, I can. Keanu is too much of a sweetheart to dress like that. He might act like that, but he won't dress like that. Too lewd. Not in front of Marilyn.
I'm back.
I'll go back. I talked about science. They told me to make the lewd picture of Keanu, and I said, no. He's good.
We need to have somebody like draw a picture of Keanu now, but in that pose.
No, I was just saying, Keanu would never dress that way. He's too committed to being wholesome for Marilyn. He'll act that way, maybe when she's in her Pokeball, but he won't dress that way.
It was an accident, though, Keanu. You just had your.
I tripped, and then my fly came down.
Yeah.
And I was pulling at my shirt because I just had the itchiest tummy. And an itchy head, all at the same time.
Come on, buddy. I'll get you a sausage link. You want a sausage link, buddy? I have sausage links. It's sausage.
No, Marilyn's not going to have that picture either.
Would it be Evie's picture then? Here you go, buddy. Ah, food. What do you think? Should I eat or should I keep going and wait to eat? Since you're saying nothing, I'm gonna assume I'm gonna eat. Pretty good. I don't know which one this is, whether it's the pumpkin spice one or the pumpkin cinnasticks one or whatever it's called. Put it in my tummy as well, too. Sorry guys, give me a minute to get something in my stomach, and I'm not gonna eat everything. I'll wait to finish it all. But I do want something in my tummy I haven't eaten. It's fine. You know what's weird, Aaron? One of my streams, like back like a couple of weeks ago, I was like streaming something random. I don't know exactly what I was streaming, but I didn't have that many people in there watching. As soon as I started eating, like I had like 20 people.
That's when everyone's like, hey, what's going on? You're like, I'm fucking doing the not entertaining part now. How are you guys doing? 1 second, just let me turn off my cam and just go.
Well, people were saying like, oh, dude, it's like, oh, great, blue eating stream. I'm like, what? Do I have to go like over to Hawks and wait for him to do a cooking stream and I'll just make it my eating stream?
Yeah, he can do I think creative. You can do cooking, and then you can do social eating.
It'll be great. Okay, these pancakes are actually really good.
Fucking love pancakes from my hub. Fucking love pancakes. Probably gonna make pancakes tomorrow morning again.
Nom, nom, nom. Everybody's saying it'll get cold. Eat, my dude. All right.
Yeah, man. You don't want cold, stiff pancakes as the syrup takes in and then gets cold and hard. And it's like,
Well, the syrup isn't on them yet.
ah, I see.
Yeah, I can put syrup on them whenever I want. All right, I do want to taste this though. This is the one thing I'm most interested in: the French toast hot chocolate. Oh my god! What was that? Hold on. Oh my god!
Is there a tag for cats on Twitch? No.
It's like hot chocolate, but instead of chocolate, it's French toast. What? How is that even a... What? Hold on. I don't taste chocolate, Aaron. I taste like a French toast. There might be like a very small hint of chocolate. I don't know. Oh god. It's so hot too, like I can't taste too much. But oh god, that's so good. That's actually really good. I would not expect it to be good. That's actually really good.
Yeah, I tried a cheesecake. Cheesecake Kit Kat.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told by Logan not to let him know my opinion. It was much more expected of a result. I like cheesecake. I like Kit Kats.
So you're gonna like
the
this.
two together.
Oh, you don't like them together?
No.
That's unfortunate, Aaron. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It's like it's okay. I got like halfway through it, and I was like, I can't anymore. It's too much. I miss and I like weird stuff. I like the white chocolate O. Henry's. Did you ever have one of those?
Oh,
You know what
Henry's
O'Henry's
are. Okay, I know this because it's technically something we have, but you just call them O. Henry's, and we call them something different. But I'm trying to remember what we call them.
Henry, still in the U.S.
This is something that like I think we've looked up before.
So apparently the difference. Henry is a straightforward, delicious candy bar with simple, complicated history, as opposed to Snickers, that was named after Forrest Mars' beloved racehorse. No one knows where the name O. Henry came from.
So it's a Snickers.
No, it's that was just referencing Snickers.
Oh,
we have Snickers as well.
Oh.
Henry's was the one.
Okay, this is definitely the Cinestick one. This is definitely the Cinestick one. Oh, it's so good.
Bumper stickers. Precedent kill a cat, and the candy bar quickly made a name for itself. Thing remains.
How can IHOP get away with this? Like, how can they get away with making so many great things?
So, Nestle has the rights to sell it in the States, but is distributed by Hershey in Canada. And in Canada, it has a chocolatey coating, while in the States, it has a milk chocolate coating. Fuck.
So maybe I don't know it. I thought we had looked this up before, or I had looked it up with somebody before. Could be wrong.
And then someone said that their great grandfather is the origin of O. Henry, and then the author of the article is like, "Yo, that's really interesting. Do you have any proof to back it up?" And then they didn't respond ever.
No, but I was just telling you.
Yeah, apparently they sell O. Henry in the States.
I guess I just haven't had one. Are they good? Do you like them?
Caramel fudge. I fucking love O. Henry. It's like one of my top tier bars. I also eat it like a fucking maniac. So what I do is I go like around the outside because it's got peanuts and like stuff on the like outward coating, and so I eat those off first, and then I eat the middle part. It's really gooey, delicious. And I usually get chocolate all over my fucking hands because it's not the ideal way to do it, but it's in my opinion the most delicious way to do it.
You're a savage, my dude.
And apparently we're getting a weed O. Henry because
what the fuck? You're getting weed O. Henrys?
Yes, as announced by one of the Epic Mealtime boys. because we're legalizing in 3 days. We are getting a Henry 425.
Oh my fucking god! Falcon's been looking at the amount of viewers, and it said it looks like we've had 4 viewers since Blue started eating.
I tabbed in. You're at 15 according to now. You're at 19 according to my Twitch.
Oh my god. Dude, this is just how it needs to be. I just need to be a social eater. That's my calling.
I know that who was it? Was it Coca-Cola? I think Coca-Cola is planning on making a pot drink as well.
Really?
Yeah, they were buying the rights to a major marijuana distributor in Canada that they wanted to start producing drinks from. Making THC infused drinks that they could get at like different vendors.
I'm almost done, guys. The hot chocolate's gonna be not done, but I can just drink on that while we're doing stuff. Holy crap, I'm gonna have to take this lid off this hot chocolate. It's like... I'm gonna put some milk in it, cool this shit down a little bit. This was the best decision I ever made. Getting IHOP tonight and finishing IHOP tonight, best decision I ever made. You want one more of these, buddy? Here you go. You can have one more sausage link. That's it. No more sausage for you. Buddy's gotten into the habit, and I got him into this habit because I wanted him to be in this habit at first. But once he got a lot bigger than I thought he was gonna get, I started regretting it. He's in the habit of whenever I eat, he has to eat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like again, at first I was very happy to have him in that because he was very tiny. But like ever since he's gotten bigger, he's like, I want to eat what you're eating, and you're gonna give it to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, buddy, and he's like, no. No buts. Such a good boy.
Who? Wait, what?
Huh?
Do you have someone named Breaking Skulls in your chat?
Wait, what? Breaking Skulls?
Yeah.
I have Crimson Wolf.
No, Crimson Wolf. I just opened up my emotes to spam mine, and then I saw I have Breaking Skulls as a sub thing, and I'm like, who gifted me a sub to Breaking Skulls? Now I have to. I'm investigating. I need to know.
Here, I'm in my mod tools, so I'm gonna see if console.
Pop out chat.
No, nobody named Breaking Skulls is in my chat.
All right, so I'm gonna pop out chat so I can leave this page. Hey guys, taking you with me. Going on the magical journey. We're gonna go to my subscriptions.
Hell yeah!
Gift subscriptions. Breaking Skulls. It was gifted by it should say by Ding XYB.
There you go.
What do you stream, Breaking Skulls? I don't care about the advertisement on your channel. He doesn't. There we go. He's fucking like hard partnered.
Dude, look at all the people with the frozen snow emotes. Hell yeah! I'll put one in there too.
The flakes. Hell yeah!
I'll put one in there too.
I need more people with that one. That's why I made it my tier 1 because that's the one I wanted people to get when they sub to me, no matter what. Because
do you have any other tiers?
Not yet. Because the lady at commission bailed, and now the only one I want to do art for me, her commissions are closed, but she's literally got the cutest art on Twitch.
If you like my Ashley emote, I can get you in contact with that person.
Maybe.
Oh man, so I'm full. Holy shit, that was good. I probably ate a little bit too much, but it was really good.
Let me know when you get it, when you get a higher tier subscription, Aaron, and I'll get that one. I wonder what happens whenever like you do like the Twitch Prime emotes. If you like if I sub to you with Twitch Prime, can I get the second tier for cheaper?
Twitch Prime is, I believe, a tier 1 sub. I don't know if it will give you. I think upgrading to tier 2 might just cost another sub.
We'll see.
As far as my awareness goes,
We shall see.
we're making Emerald my hungry.
Oh, I'm sorry. We don't mean to be making you my hungry Emerald. I haven't had hot chocolate in forever either. It's way too sweet. Like the French, the first couple of sips of the French toast stuff, like it was fucking fantastic. Now it's like I'm sipping and I'm like, it's way too sweet. Mega sweet. Oh, look at that doggo. Oh, what the fuck is that, Aaron?
I fucking love Mike's emotes.
It's fucking Doggomite.
Oh,
I need to
a shit ton of silly emotes.
Before we get into continuing, I'm gonna close my door so my grandma doesn't have to hear scary yonder.
I'm gonna pee again because I've been drinking a liter of brisk.
You do that, my dude.
That's a smart thing to do.
Let me know how it goes. Pee for me when you're there too. All right, what happened? What happened last? They spent much time they possibly need. All right, that would be ideal. But Lizzie wasn't certain. It was unfortunately impossible for them to be together. Okay, I already read this part. Lizzie pondered everything as she cleaned up the vegetables for that day's meal. And the knife work while she thought, enjoying the knife work while she thought. John was casually reading on the couch and smiled when he felt her gaze. This was bliss. Unfortunately, a moment later, someone pounded on the door. Well, gotta wait for my boy to get back. His session from the sesh, you know what I mean? Pretty good. Oh my god. It's way too sweet for me because I'm not a sweets person. But the French toast hot chocolate is really good. Not a sweets person at all, but really good. Way too sweet though. Wish I had more stuff to dilute it, but I already put in all the milk. So how many did we lose whenever I got done eating, guys? How many people did we lose whenever I stopped eating? Now you stopped eating, we're down to 14. Yes.
If the viewership for the D&D games keeps going up, Logan might be partnered soon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I noticed he was like staying steady at like 70.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we can average 75 for Net 19, then Blazing Azure Crow Channel will finally get like full-on regular subscription.
It's freaking awesome. We'll get there one day, Aaron. One of these days.
One day.
All right, I had to wait for you because, unfortunately, a moment later there was a sound. Someone pounded on the door with his cock.
Yo, I want to interrupt you, lovebirds, but you want to turn on the news? It's a picture of my dick on the news.
If he said that,
to him.
If he said that, it must be something significant. Lizzie wasn't sure exactly what they had said, but John had spoken to Aaron about needing more private space, covering for her, of course, which was wonderful, though Lizzie felt slightly uncomfortable about the whole thing. John had managed to set everything up smoothly. Aaron was already moving on, leaving them to glance at one another. After a pause, John got up and flipped through the channels until he got to the one they wanted. Earth's rampages in American history. We have just received report that one of the students in critical care has unfortunately passed away, bringing the total of 11 dead and 2 wounded. Oh shit. Lizzie moved to the couch beside John in a flash, eyes fixed on the television even though she wasn't completely certain why. The news filled with reports of murders, of course, but the radio immediately caught her attention. John glanced over at her with a thoughtful look. Why would Aaron call us about this in particular?
Unless he knows.
The facts of the incident are still coming in. One of the most basic facts must have been relevant. That's a good point. Maybe, scrolling at the bottom now, I recognize that name. It's a town filled with major koi tech factory, just like their hometown, he didn't need to say. Distracted by the exact reports of the violence, Lizzie had not noticed that fact. She didn't know the name in any case. It made her heart warm to think that the two of them complimented one another, but it was still in a state of alert rigidness. With the lull of updates the news program was bringing on guests, there was a koi tech representative, which was incredibly suspicious even though he was only making a statement of condolences. After that, an academic was brought on. He was introduced as an expert in violent killings, which immediately attracted her interest. After pointless introductory questions, things got more interesting.
Until the police decide to release direct evidence, is there anything we can now determine about the crime? What's notable is that a few injured compared to those killed. Regardless of the weapon used, that's an unusual statistic. And what does that tell us? It might indicate that the crime was a crime of passion. The individuals killed were targeted specifically, not randomly. Even those hospitalized were severely injured after all. What could cause a student to go on a rampage? Well, emotions were always strong in high school.
No, that wasn't right. The death-to-injury ratio hadn't caught their attention as well. And the expert had identified it too, but he was wrong about that. Lizzie didn't want to jump to conclusions, but...
This is horrible. Do you think it could? Breaking news! The police have released video footage captured during the tragedy to the media. Children and sensitive viewers may not want to watch the following clip.
Neither of them blinked. The news switched to a grainy footage from a security camera on an empty hallway. For a few moments still. Then a student began crawling across the floor, leaving a trail of blood, broken arm, cut to the intestines, designed to cause pain instead of death. She couldn't see the student's eyes, but she was sure there was animal fear in them. He was panicking, just trying to get away. A girl appeared on camera. She moved casually but surprisingly fast, swinging a baseball bat idly in one hand. The student gave a mangled squawk and tried to crawl faster. It didn't matter. The girl lunged forward and brought the bat down onto his head. Though the blow was pixelated, Lizzie could practically see the spray of blood.
Oh, hi! Oh, hi! How are you?
Girl stared down at the body for a moment, face unclear. Then she finally looked up. A mad grin on her face. With a peal of laughter, she lunged away, vanishing from the screen. For a few seconds, the footage was only of the corpse, set to the sound of her laughter. Then it cut out abruptly. Only then did Lizzie realize that she was on her feet and holding her knife.
Oh, fuck! I'm scared of the thing on TV! I have my thinking knife!
Her reaction had been instinctive and instantaneous. John looked a little concerned and touched her arm.
Lizzie.
You're right, I just... She sat down on the couch beside of him and carefully set the knife back a few inches, out of easy reach. Normally she might be ashamed of herself, but her heart was still beating too rapidly. Lizzie did her best not to focus on the broadcast.
Remind everyone the suspect was killed by police at the entrance to the school. Her identity and the identities of the victims are still being withheld for the sake of their families, but if anyone has information concerning...
John turned the volume to a low buzz and looked toward her. His eyes were hard and serious in a way that normally excited her, but given the circumstances, she was too tense.
I know it's early to jump to conclusions, but she...
was like me, yes! The words felt strange in her mouth, though. This random girl couldn't possibly be like her, not any more than the other girl in their hometown. She didn't know of another way to say it, though. If she trusted John to understand. Not like you, but the way she moved. You don't think that was natural, do you? No. She used more strength than a normal girl could when she swung her bat. And she was almost as fast as me. In the movements they've seen during the video, at least, which might not reflect her full speed, Lizzie again had the strong urge to eliminate the girl, despite the fact that she was already dead and couldn't possibly harm John. I have to kill her ghost! Still a threat! Mrs. Smith said there was nothing sinister about it. Just experiments gone wrong. But for this to happen here, too. Remember the meeting? Koitek prefers to rush through testing with multiple simultaneous experiments. Oh, good memory. I hadn't realized you were listening that closely. Lizzie smiled at him, a little tension draining from her. Yeah, she was still here beside John. There was no threat. She needed to quiet her instincts. It didn't mean that they were safe, though. There could be much broader threats due to the changes that would happen. She was certain she knew much of the information that would come from this incident, but after that, it looked like John's thoughts had gone in a similar direction, judging from his frown. Do you think this will be the end for Koitek? Will this be what needed to bring reform? I don't think this will change anything. She was surprised by John's bleak tone, but when she looked over at him, she saw his eyes were calm. Though sometimes he became too depressed when he saw the world darker than what it really was, at other times his vision seemed clearer than many others. We know what really happened, but will the public make the connection? It looks like Koitek is already on top of things. They might even use this as an argument for why their drugs are needed more, to stop murderers like this. Oh, you may be right, but... You saw that image when she looked at the camera. That's going to be all over the news, I guarantee it. She'll become the new face of any social problem people want to blame on younger generations. Maybe things will take a positive turn from here, but I doubt it. Oh, John, I hope it doesn't go that way, but I'm inclined to believe you. They leaned against one another for a while, John touching his face to her hair and breathing in slowly. They sat there for a while, watching as the news continued. Meaningful information was coming slower now, but that didn't stop the broadcast from trying to stretch things. And since new information did come out occasionally, she felt like she needed to keep watching. Though it shouldn't have gotten to her, Lizzie found herself more and more anxious as they continued. What would Koitek do if they felt threatened? Could this be a part of some much larger scheme? Even if not, what would happen to them? The incident with her and John had been suppressed and gotten no media attention, but this was such a public event. Horror suddenly crept up within her mind as she imagined an army of Mrs. Smiths swarming schools around the country, giving out more medication to prevent another such incident. Parents would probably welcome it. She understood human psychology that much. Someone like her might have been targeted. Worse, someone like John might have even less chance. Lizzie realized as she was chewing on one of her fingers, hard enough to draw blood only when John gently pulled it from her mouth. It's okay, Lizzie. Whatever happens, we'll get through this together. She nodded and then hugged him tightly, taking refuge in his embrace. He was right, of course, but only if they devoted their full attention to analyzing the potential risk. They stayed together for a while longer, but it seemed like the broadcast had even less new information now. Despite all the emotion, Lizzie found herself strangely blank. She wasn't sure if she wanted to forget this had happened or take precautions. I just want to know why Aaron fucking told him. I just want to know why.
Oh, he knows?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he did just knock on and be like, you might want to see this. It could just be the coincidence of, yo, this is fucked.
Yo, look at this fuck shit.
I did that.
I mean, their house, I think, is off campus, though. So, like, he would have had to come all the way over there and be like, knock, knock, and then walk away, you know?
Hey, guys, don't want to interrupt you or nothing. Might be fucking, and this is real important. So I'll just say it through the door.
Turn on the TV, some sick shit. Alright, bye.
I mean, I don't know how far away could be, because if he saw it on TV, then
True.
he would have had to came, and it could have been.
That's true, and they might have
unlikely.
he might also live off campus for all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
The only other explanation is he knew it was going to be on the news, and he knew roughly when the news would be on, and that it would make the front end of it.
We'll see. Fortunately, it seemed that John was certainly uncertain, glancing at her just then. So, what do you want to do now? Forget about it for now. Search for more information. Train to prepare for arrival. What should we do, Aaron?
Oh. Trying to prepare rivals or forget about it. Those are options, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they did just see that somebody was crazy on the fucking news. I mean, maybe training wouldn't be bad. Like, it's just like, John, I'm not gonna go looking for trouble, but if someone comes here, I'm a kill him. I'm a kill him dead, John. Knowledge is power. I don't know if searching for information is probably the best course of action. I'm just gonna, you know what? Everybody's being chill. We need to be a little bit more chill. Let's just forget about it for now. Let's just forget about it for now. We need a break. The full story will probably be out tomorrow. There's no sense wearing ourselves out over it now. You're probably right, Lizzie. I was getting tired of that news graphic anyway. John turned off the television and returned to her. As she happily slid into his lap to lay against his chest, she spent the rest of the night just quietly talking, staying close while they worked. John hadn't been too upset about the incident. She was happy to take his mind off the serious subject for a while. Letting the matter go made Lizzie anxious, though. She didn't bite her finger when he was watching, but her mind began to cycle through plans and possibilities. As she fell asleep, Lizzie tried to ponder what this would mean for them. All she was sure about was that she wanted to face it at his side. Several days later, more information had come up about everything and had come out, and everything was far less clear. Uh-oh. The facts of the Renault's incident were overwhelmed by rumors, theories, and other chaos that muddled the potential message. Lizzie was absolutely certain in her interpretation, but obviously they were keeping that to herself. The girl's name was common knowledge now, and her face was represented both by a very normal-looking yearbook photo and her grin from the video. The exact order of events when she had killed 12 of her classmates was still argued over, adding to the conspiracy theories. It was unclear why she had done it, and none of the evidence offered struck Lizzie as correct. She was actually a little curious about the girl's reasoning had been, but ultimately it didn't matter. At the moment, Lizzie was writing out some of her thoughts in her notebook. The incident had set her imagination on fire, so she used the notebook more lately. But she'd let John see much of what she did, and they'd been able to talk about it, which amplified the soothing effect. Now, though, she was finished and feeling restless. Lizzie glanced at the clock and got up to pace a little. John was currently at the computer lab, another part-time job he'd taken to try to reduce their debt. This one was also unusually easy, he said. But tonight, allegedly, he was going to be playing games with some other people, including Aaron, which made her a little uncomfortable. She knew it was irrational, but she hadn't pushed too hard. But John knew she didn't like it. He promised that he'd soon start withdrawing a little more to spend time with her, but hadn't specified exactly when. Lizzie decided it was time to visit him, not just to check on him, but because she might as well see what everybody was interested in. Games didn't particularly interest her, and John hadn't played many because they were expensive, but there was a group on campus setting up something called a LAN party. LAN parties are fucking awesome. At least the ones I've been to. All we basically did was play Halo and fucking, and and the old like I don't know what it was called. It was like the very old one where it was like freaking terrorists versus America, and it had the America fuck yeah whenever you won. I don't know what it's called.
Oh, Trouble in Terrorist Town?
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
On Gary's mod? Yeah, it's Trouble in Terrorist Town.
It was a long time ago. I don't even know if Gary's mod was out. It might have been out. Probably was out. I don't fucking know.
That's what I thought you were talking about. I'm like out of it. I'm gonna be honest.
No, it's fine. You're editing, right?
I've taken a break for now. I think it's coming on 10 p.m. I think I'm good for the day.
If you get tired or anything, Aaron, feel free to leave, and I'll say goodbye to you, and I'll tuck you in.
Huzzah! I'm not gonna put it 10 p.m. I'm not a cookie puss. Bring it on, Capitan.
She made her way across the campus at speed toward the lab. She was nervous, no point denying that, but it was a low-level anxiety she could swallow without doing any harm.
Yes, she can.
Inside, she found things a little different than expected. Each person had a separate computer. Maybe she had been thinking of consoles? With everyone together on the same couch, this was reasonable and seemed like the kind of thing John would like. Though almost everyone was utterly fixated on the screen, John looked up and smiled when he saw her. She immediately moved to stand behind him, one hand on his shoulder. The screen seemed to be from the point of view of something running through corridors carrying a gun. There were other numbers, presumably statistics relating to the game. So, this is the game? Yeah, it's fun playing over a LAN, but I doubt I want to play too often. Oh my god, he's still like that!
That's normal, right? I mean, there are a lot more important causes in the world, but you can't be focused all the time, or you'll let it be useless, you know? Sometimes you just gotta play some Counter-Strike with the bros, maybe touch butts a little bit, you know, big deal, don't talk about it. Okay, if you kiss another guy.
What the fuck?
Who said that?
I again, like Falcon said it best, like he slides in like that. It's almost like he's fucking like pushing his pelvis toward John to like, hey, hey, hey.
This is my dick. My dick is amazing.
Oh my god. Is it a bug? No, I'm pretty sure this is just how she sees him now. Lizzie could be focused all the time. Or at least she should be, but she nodded. If it was true for John, at least. And one of the ways she needed to protect him. Sorry if I'm distracted. After the match, we can... He cut off as someone else appeared from around the corner on his screen, abruptly moving his mouth and hitting the keys much faster. Lizzie found herself briefly concerned for his avatar, but fortunately it was the other player who collapsed, the little human image spurting blood. Can you just imagine she starts playing games just to defend him in the game?
She's just fucking wicked good at COD or something.
That's not very realistic. That prompted a strange eyebrow from Aaron. What the fuck do you mean realistic?
Well, it is a game.
So the winner is the person who kills the most people? More or less. The timer is... Whoa! Oh! We got a little cute screen! Look at the cutes! They're being cutes together.
She's crazy.
What? She's just watching.
Mm-hmm.
And smelling it. I'm kidding.
Weird body dysmorphia of the guy standing next to them because she found out about his gayness.
What? What if he's just acting like that right now, huh? You think of that?
Listen, I know Aaron.
Once again, the game sucked up his attention, so Lizzie stopped distracting him and just stayed behind to watch. She could play the game. Would John like that? Lizzie watched his hands and the gameplay. Reaction time seemed to play a part. And she'd be good at that, but the actions necessary to move and fire seemed very artificial. She wasn't sure she'd be able to adjust to them. Of course, she would...
Play some Counter-Strike action. I'm gonna do what Aaron's doing right now.
Hell yeah, dude. You play some of that Counter-Strike. Alright, I'll talk to you later, my boy.
We'll go one. Bye, stream. Be
Bye-bye.
good, or
We'll probably end in a couple of minutes anyway. Goodbye, Aaron.
Jump on you like Aaron's gonna jump on John.
Alright, later, my dude.
Peace.
Mwah. I love him. I love him so much. Love him so much, it's criminal. Yeah, we'll probably be ending in about 15 minutes, guys. Just letting you guys know. Make the stream about 4 hours. We'll play it again at some other point. Of course, she wouldn't want to play against John, even if his character was just a little soldier. That didn't look like him. She also wasn't sure she wanted to play with this group. A few were staring at her with a look that made her teeth on edge. Only John got to look at her that way. Stop looking at my ass! Oh, God. Oh, no. She's getting so pissed. Things went well until John's avatar came under heavy fire. Abruptly, the screen went black and she saw the little figure collapse in a shower of blood. John had been killed? He winced and muttered to herself. Raw hatred surged through Lizzie as she realized one of the people in that room had killed him. He popped back up a second later, but she barely noticed, scanning the other chairs. Was there any way to tell which username connected to the person who had killed him? But as things went on, John killed them back several times. He got killed again, and the surges of hatred faded. It was a silly little avatar after all. John was fine. If she could kill people in real life and do no harm, would she? The idea kind of excited her, but she decided not to explore it for now. Before too long, the match ended, and she read the screen right. John did well. In the top third of players, considering he had less time for games than many other people. She was very proud of him, giving him a quick hug from behind. Then Aaron shows back up like, hey! He swiveled around his chair to face her, smiling. You just came to watch, I take it? Do you want to play? Oh, I don't know about that. It doesn't seem quite like my sort of thing. Did you know they're seriously blaming people? There's seriously people blaming the Warnos incident on violent video games? Of course there are, Aaron. Shaking his head, Aaron swiveled to face them. It's not just a few crackpots either. I hear a lot of people saying saying this is because of the violence in our media, calling for all kinds of societal change, so long as they're superficial. I don't think you're going to overthrow the status quo with revolution, Aaron. But obviously I agree all this campaigning against violent games is misplaced. I don't know, man. I think we're past the point where incremental change can accomplish anything. You know how the pharmaceuticals just spun the incident to give them even more power? But it was a Koitek town. Who knows what drugs might have made that situation worse? The two of them went back and forth, arguing mildly. It interested Lily a little, but it was more abstract than she preferred. She drew up a chair and got him involved to prevent some of the unpleasant people from coming closer to talk to her. It seemed like they were trying to talk between matches, several people taking the time to go to the bathroom or get snacks. For the most part, it seemed like a decent group, so Lily didn't mind John spending more time with them. The break didn't last long, not nearly long enough for John and Aaron to resolve their disagreement. John glanced at her, but when Lily smiled encouragingly, he participated in the next match as well. Aww, she's so cute. Oh, I got an achievement called Digital Murder. As she watched, Lily got more natural sense of the game. But that actually took her out of the experience. In the game where there was no way you could tell someone was behind you, no sense for the environment, or easy way to keep tabs on the scenario, and the blood effects were sort of silly, not realistic at all. Yet she felt a little intrigued. John had mentioned that computer graphics were always getting better and better. If there was a game that looked more realistic and let her use her knives instead of guns, she wondered if it could be fun for her. Not the same as killing people, but dude, she's gonna get into guns. Frickin', she's gonna be a K-styler, it's gonna be great. When they finished the next match, John got up to stretch while Aaron glanced over at them again. You're really watching intently, you sure you don't want to play, Lizzie? No, it's okay, I don't really like guns. Haha, fair enough. This kind of crazy violence isn't for everyone. Finished stretching, John glanced over at her for a moment just considering, and then he nodded. I think I've had enough for today. You want to go home, Lizzie? Okay. You two take care, okay? She's gonna love Skyrim? Oh, hell yeah. Look, can we just have a game designer ending? Blue, how dare you force this innocent girl into murder? I'm not doing anything, Isno! The entire first game was me trying to stop her from murdering. I'm not doing shit. Oh my god. They left the lab and walked back together, taking their time. John seemed to be contemplating something, so Lizzie just kept pace alongside of him and walked until he was ready. First it was making innocent girls steal, now murder. I'm not doing that. Aaron's a good guy, but I don't think we're ever going to agree on some big things. Everything we're talking about was changing society, you mean? Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll see the FDCA change, and the entire industry will be transformed. But I kind of doubt it. History would have needed to go differently years ago. I agree with you, John. But maybe that's fine. He'll go his own way and organize protests and things. I'll see if I can't do more within the system. Maybe both approaches are necessary. They'll take us in completely different directions, though. Do you mean you aren't upset that I'm uncomfortable around Aaron, are you? He looked at her, slight surprise in his eyes. No, not at all. I was trying to say the opposite. It looks like our choices in life mean we'll spend less time together regardless. I understand. I'm glad you're not upset. Just thoughtful. It's strange how choices you make at the beginning of life can take things in such different directions. It's like, is there another version of me who follows Francisca's path and works for the FDCA? Another one where I join protests? One where I forget about it and just take some other job? Interesting. And it was interesting. Lizzie didn't like the idea. She liked this John, the one with her. She liked herself and the singular relationship they had. John noticed her slight frown before she could think to hide it, but Lizzie decided that was fine. You seem troubled. I don't like thinking of the other versions of myself. A Lizzie who never met you, or somehow didn't love you, or... I don't want to think about those. You don't have to focus on depressing possibilities. What about a version of you where we escaped Koitek entirely and just lived happily together? You know, like the actual fucking ending where we murdered everyone and lived happily ever after. That was fucking great. The idea did bring a warmth to her heart, even if this was a fantasy. But a moment later, Liz realized the true potential of the concept. She could always stay with her John and make the best decisions, but she could imagine all the paths not taken and enjoy them too. Just adding more facets to their relationship. I like that, John. I really do. I'm glad. And I just wanted to say that, even considering every possible future reality, I want to be with you in all of them. Aww. Lizzie latched onto his arm happily and squeezed him for a moment. Me too, John. All the alternate reality Lizzies want to be with you too, at the same time. Whoa. Well, now we're getting straight into science fiction. The two of them explored the topic as they headed back, sometimes speculative and sometimes just silly. Lizzie was happy to discuss it, brimming with happiness by the time they went to bed. There are so many other paths in life. But would it always be John and Lizzie? Lizzie and John? Forever? Guys, I think that's a good time to hold off on the rest of this. I think we've gone far enough in this game for the first part of this. That was a really good place to end things off. Like, really, really unnaturally good. Made me feel all fuzzy inside. I like it. What kind of gallery stuff did we unlock? Oh, it looks like we missed one. We have this one. Angry and smiley. I love it. First one, she's like, what is going on? That's so weird. Oh my god, someone killed my John. Ah. And this one's like, hi everybody. I just murdered a dude. Looks like there's a lot of, okay, here's the gallery for, oh, so these must be story elements, and like we are at like 3 more, so we're probably around halfway through the game. Okay, cool. Bunch of backgrounds that I can use for things. More backgrounds that are probably gonna be coming later. Cool, cool, cool. And I'm guessing some of the, like, I'm guessing there's lewds somewhere. I'm guessing.
I had a lot of fun, guys. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or wisecracks, put them in the comments below. We'll probably get back to this at some point in the next like couple of days. I'll probably get back to Bloodborne maybe on Tuesday. Play a little bit of that. Not sure if we're gonna go back to Darkest Dungeon like soon, but Darkest Dungeon I can just play whenever I want, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't have to be a October thing. Probably want to play some Graveyard Keeper when the Halloween update comes up for that. That might be fun. We have a lot of things we can play for the rest of the month, guys. Might even play some co-op stuff with my boys, because I was told about some co-op games that were out there that I could potentially play. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I enjoyed myself. Tomorrow is Pokemon. For those of you who want to watch some Pokemon, tomorrow is the Pokemon game. Hope you guys will enjoy it. It's gonna be good. But yes, love you all. Had a very, very, very wholesome thing. We didn't kill anybody. It was great. And until next time, guys, like always, later days. Also, apparently, Pokemon's the Pokemon's Saradite or whatever game is updated, so maybe I'll play some of that over the month too. It's gonna be really good. And Fairy Tail is on Wednesday. Goodbye.